Yes, it is an awesome intro. Thank you. That's the first time we've been able to roll with that intro. Very excited about that. But welcome back to another episode of Let's Set the Tone. Very excited today to be able to sit down and talk to the special guest here. So very, very excited, actually. And he even came bearing a gift. And I will show that to you very briefly, and then I'm going to say his name. But it is a Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, the movie, wanted poster for Mario and Luigi. That's a fantastic gift, and I really appreciate that.
I'm glad you like it.
Which then, of course, prompted us to talk a little bit about that as well too, and that's a topic I'd love to get into someday. So, but this is Russell. Everybody, say hello to Russell. There's Russell. So, I'm going to start with a couple things. First of all, I want to say probably one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Oh gosh.
Fact. I mean, we all have our quirks as well too, but you are definitely one of the nicest people I've ever met. I know originally it was at one of the GameStops here in town, probably the mall, like you had said, and you know, once in a while your dad would come in as well too, super nice as well too. Always a great time when you guys come in. So very excited to be able to sit down and talk to you, because as I've even said to you, and I call myself a hyper nerd, and I don't even know if I can sometimes light a candle to some of the levels that you might hit when it comes to that, which is awesome. So, you know, like I said, it's something that for me to look at somebody else and say, man, okay, well, maybe I got some work
Even
to
I do that sometimes, though, when I see some of my friends that post about stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of forget that kind of nerd exists sometimes.
right. So it's pretty awesome. But I almost, and I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't. I was gonna wear a striped shirt today, and I heard that it was probably not a good idea to wear a striped shirt around you because it might trigger you a little bit as well too.
Oh Jesus!
So I heard you're not really a fan of those. I've been told it's kind of like a bull with a red cloak. So I'm glad I didn't do that. I wanted to have a good time today. So.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
That already starts it off right.
Oh.
So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
So yeah, I'm Russell. Gosh, I'm mostly from Saginaw. I would say I've been living in Saginaw for 19 years now. Yeah, 19 years.
Great,
and I grew up mostly in Freeland, Michigan. So I'm mostly that's kind of what I consider my hometown, but lived a little all over before that as a littler kid. But I don't know, I have my hands in too much stuff. I'll say that much. Like whether it be we were just talking about, me taking on like physical photography. I own too much physical media. Do cosplay.
Yeah.
I've been in a band for 20 years now.
Has it really
it's
been
at least 19 years, because I joined the band when I was 19.
Wow.
Like in the MySpace days.
Oh my God.
I entered a classified on MySpace, and then I've been in the band ever since. Yeah. Go to some events, do some cons.
Yeah.
Watch a lot of anime, watch a lot of TV, watch a
Okay.
lot of movies. Like
All the good stuff.
all the good stuff.
All the good stuff. All the good stuff. I love
all the
it.
stuff that's supposed to hold you back, supposedly.
right. Like I always tell everybody, and I was just telling you, it looks like a 14-year-old boy's bedroom down in this basement. So I'm not growing up anytime soon.
No, I mean, at least this is in your basement. Mine's in my living room.
That's even
There's
cool.
no avoiding it. I've become known by the Hungry Howie's employee that always delivers my pizza as the guy with all the cool shit in his house.
That's great. That's fantastic. That's good. That's good. So, well, you know, I definitely know that there's a lot of things that I definitely want to jump in with you as well too, because of a lot of the things that you have a background in. You actually kind of alluded to some of that I was I know, right? MySpace, Seven Dungeons. I know. I log in every year just to log in, just to say I can still log in. So I mean, I definitely do miss it, and I want to thank Instagram for at least letting me put one song on my profile. It feels like we're getting a little bit of that MySpace back. And how's our level sound, everybody? Do we sound good on the mic at all? How we doing out here? Just a quick mic check as well too. I was trying to play at the levels beforehand as well. But let us know if you have any audio issues, as well as I'm keep trying to mess with my elbow here. So sounds like normal. Good. Okay. That's half the battle. So yeah, speaking of Doogie, so you answered one of the questions. You said you've been about how long now? 20 years?
Yeah, it'll be 20 years next year, actually.
Wow, that's pretty wild. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's
yeah. I can't even, like, how long have I been in Saginaw? I moved to Saginaw in 2007. So what? Well, yeah, almost 20 years at that point. So pretty wild. If you can though, describe if there is a way to describe Doogie as like a music genre, like what would you kind of describe them as?
I would say it's like early 2000s pop punk, like
Okay.
in the realm of like Blink-182 and the Ataris and
That's a name I don't
gosh,
hear
who
often.
else? Like
Damn.
I think we used to even use say a little bit of like Everclear because it's pop rock, pop punk,
Sure.
more upbeat kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
I think the idea of the whole thing was always that like I was going through a lot when I first joined the band. I was definitely like incredibly depressed, but always trying to like find hope and find a way to push through things. So what I always wanted to do with the music for the band was always like, yeah, it's okay to be sad, but you have to just at the end of the day, you have to be you. You have to only answer to you, and you just have to press on. So I always wanted things to be more upbeat, even despite when things are tragic or sad or feeling hopeless. Like,
I think that's a good way of describing it. Yeah. I mean, shoot, I would even say like party music a little bit too. Like
oh,
of
for
that
sure. Oh,
upbeatness,
yeah. Yeah.
know?
Oh, gosh. Yeah. There's been enough nights at the pub to prove that. Oh,
right,
Jesus.
right. That's great. That's great. I was just since you were gonna be on, you guys can actually check them out on Spotify as well too. I don't know if I've got the link on here, but I do got some ways for you to find them more than likely through some of Russell's social media here as well too. Probably should have done this earlier on, but of course I didn't. That's his merch site. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well too, which is pretty sweet. And then of course his Instagram as well. So, but I know you can certainly find Doogie on Spotify because I was definitely listening to him this week as well too. High Five, right? Did I say that?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So some great
High
stuff.
Five
out
for
there.
Small Fry, our one true hit.
The one true hit
that people seem to love. One of my great friends, she calls us great lawn mowing music. She's really not in the mood to mow the lawn. It really gets her through, I guess. So I'm happy for that.
Right.
You know, it is cool to see like that stuff because we just put stuff on. Even though we've been together for a long time, we just put stuff on Spotify earlier this year, maybe later last year.
Yeah.
Finally just got in the process of that. Got a real, bug up our butts about putting stuff out there finally.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it is funny just to like as an artist just to see the stats and like see we had like the top listener thing and I was like, oh, we got 5 top listeners. Weird.
That's cool.
It's so strange to like, all right, great. What do we do? We do something for these people? I don't know. So
throw a party, right? I don't know. Send a postcard even would be great once in a while. So, what do you guys? I mean, you kind of alluded to that, and maybe you didn't when you were describing, some of that. But is that kind of like some of the inspiration you draw from? Is like Ataris or like is there anybody in particular you feel like this is kind of who we draw from, or maybe relatable?
I mean, I think we all, as individuals, myself, our bass player Casey, our guitar player Matt, and our rotating schedule of drummers, right now being Jalen Conway, an amazing drummer. I think we all just bring our own. We all have things in common that we really love, but then we all bring our different backgrounds, especially based on our instruments. Like I know Casey, Matt, Jalen and I also like have a lot of bands like the Ataris or MXPX or NoFX or Less Than Jake, especially a lot of ska. Even though we're not a ska band, like we all love ska so much. But then I think for each individual instrument, we all kind of bring our own backgrounds to everything, especially.
It's great, yeah. And I had a brief stint many years ago in that realm as well too. And the joke was always that the drummer was weird. Would you say is that still a thing? Are the drummers always the weird ones?
No, not for Doogie.
Not
all
for
the weird
Doogie.
ones.
Okay. You're all the weird ones. Okay.
Doogie is definitely no pun intended, a band of misfits for sure.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I love that. I love it. What is your role specifically?
So I'm the lead singer, and I play like an Alesis synthesizer as well.
That's really sexy.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It gets all the chicks in 20 years.
I don't know. I think synthesizer.
Yeah.
Very sexy.
I love it. But
right.
Nothing's gonna change that. For a brief stint, I had a nice Yamaha guitar as well, but no, that went the way. I traded that for a 3DS. So.
Oh, but shit. Okay.
It was a fair trade. It did play Last Christmas by Wham on it though, so it was pretty rad.
That is very rad. Well, you said so MySpace is where you answered an ad to that. Is that kind of how it started? Is there a little bit more we can hear about the history of kind of how Doogie just kind of started?
Yeah, so the band was already in full swing before I joined. They were known as the Doogie Howser Project before I joined. And then then they were looking for a new lead singer because their singer was going off to college. So I was like, well, I mean, before that I was in like concert band, symphony orchestra. I was mostly percussion. I played drums and whatnot
Right.
too. But at the time, I was going to like church and I sang at church, played bass and stuff like that
Shit.
too. So I was doing all that kind of stuff. So I was like, well, maybe I'll give this a shot. So I answered their ad,
Right.
and I went and auditioned. And Casey, our bass player, will tell you that I won him over because I was working at Outback Steakhouse at the time, and I was like, oh well, I'll just grab some, like, I'll try to butter these guys up. I'll bring them a bloomin' onion, some cheese fries, that kind of stuff. And I won Casey over immediately that way. And yeah, so yeah, they were already, like I said, in full swing, and then after some deliberation, I joined the band. We played a few shows as the Doogie Howser Project, and then I want to say within in like a year or two, had some roster changes. Some people left. We brought some new people on. And then since we were kind of evolving the sound to be more pop punk, because I want to say it was a bit more emo, a bit more not as upbeat as before. We were still singing some of the old members' songs too. We were writing more of our new stuff and more stuff geared towards new members. We just shortened everything to Doogie since it was going to be, and that's what it's been ever since.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah. It's wild to think about that. Like, I'm almost 40 and I've been in this band for 20 years now.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Wow. And for all you youngsters out there, Doogie Howser MD was the show if you were a kid for somebody to look up to, because you always wanted to be that. It was about a boy who was a prodigy, 14-year-old doctor, and it was none other than MPH, Neil Patrick Harris. So he was like, for some of us kids growing up, he was one of those kind of like celebrity icons that you kind of looked up to, I think, at that age. So that's awesome. That I didn't even know that at all. So, and that does bring me up another question though. Like, when it comes to the lyric writing, is that something that somebody specifically does, or is it like a collaboration?
It's mostly me. I will start off with an idea, and then as we kind of put the song together, I might change it, or I'm always open to suggestions from the guys as well.
All right.
As to like, I don't like that, this doesn't really work, or hey, what if you did that? Because I think as a band, it's very much a collaboration with us. Someone will that's what I've always enjoyed about these guys as some of my best friends, is that nobody's really afraid to bring stuff to the table.
Awesome.
Like, we're not afraid of each other or nervous about anything like that to bring that stuff. Like, and then or not be open to criticism about things as well, because it always comes from a place of like love, or if at least to try things. It's like, oh yeah, maybe what if you tried it like this, and if it doesn't work, cool, then it didn't work. But if it does, great. So it's always been so much of a collaboration. But lyrically, I write most of everything, and then kind of just see where it goes from there with the guys.
Awesome. Okay. I love that. I love that as well too. So, and because you don't want to end up as the Eagles, you got to be able to take the criticism.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No. But like I said, we got a really great, solid group of dudes. Unfortunately, we've lost some few drummers along the way, just because life happens like that.
Oh, yeah.
But we've picked up a lot of great dudes and had a lot of great people come by. And Jalen right now, he was exploring some other projects, and he's just real busy right now. So we've been kind of taking a little bit of a break right now. But I mean, we'd love to keep him, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But
We'll move on.
it is what life is. That's why one of our merch, if you'll ever see it, which was approved by Jalen, it's a shirt that just says Casey, Russell, Matt, and the drummer. So, because it's like, well, the three of us are going to stay.
Right.
We've got nothing better, so it's fine. We'll just keep doing this.
That's cool though. Well, how many albums have you guys had? I mean, I know like on Spotify it shows two, but I know like that doesn't always tell the tale on that. Is there?
We did one as the Doogie Howser Project, and that was like Casey and I are the only original members from the Doogie Howser Project. Okay. We did one album that we recorded in some dude's house in Flint, and oh God, I wish it just didn't exist at all. I still have it on like an iPod and on my computer, and it is rough to listen to. It is. It's like going back and just like listening to some of the cringiest stuff you've ever done.
Right.
Like but you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's one album that I wouldn't consider a real album, but it's still there. So we mostly just have the EP, which is the High Five EP, which our buddy Nick Bajovis recorded for us years and years ago, and then we have Still Here, which is just kind of our main album that we have on there that our buddy Sean recorded for us.
Cool.
And that's the one that that has all the hits on
It's
it.
got all. I was gonna say.
It's got all of them on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know like when I was listening to it this week, because I've listened to it a few times. And there's just from by way of being around, right? I've been privileged to see you guys live a couple times as well too. But there's a couple
we
songs.
played enough GameStop openings. So.
True. That's true. But yeah, certainly. There's always a couple songs in there. Like I always just kind of know. Like I know that song. So Awesome. What is your favorite song? Do you have a favorite?
Of ours?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that High Five for Small Fry is not my favorite song, but we always end every set with it.
Yeah.
And by that time, people are so hyped up from everything else. It is so much fun to play.
That's awesome.
Especially just when people like we try and get people into it to high five during the chorus of it, because that's kind of the whole song is about us as a band, but it's also about just being yourself in a small town and just kind of making the best of things. And just I love the camaraderie of people getting together, just to, especially people who know the song will then go around and start high-fiving strangers in the crowd, and it really just brings a big energy to everything.
Yeah.
But I would say that of all of our songs, gosh, I would probably say the best kind of thirsty is one of my favorite songs, because it has a really cool synth line that our bass player Casey wrote, and it's a lot of fun to play. And I actually just recently started building new microphones out of telephones, and so I just found out you could do that. So it sounds like you're like you plug it into a PA and it sounds like you're talking into a telephone,
Like an old school rotary telephone?
Like
Get the
rotary telephones. I
fuck
also have
outta
a couple of touch tones as well, because it's just that's been a new hobby of mine, is finding old phones from the thrift and turning those into microphones, because it's ridiculously easy.
That's fucking cool.
And it always sounds like you're coming over the intercom of like a pizzeria place,
Yeah.
or like a pilot coming over the intercom of a plane. So I integrated that into part of the song there too. So I love doing that with it. So it's
That's
kind
cool.
of a bit more of a dynamic element to it, but it's more of like a fun song. Especially it's kind of about summer and just activities like that, and just having fun. So I think it's just got a real upbeat tone to it.
And that I feel like that a lot of what you said, especially right there at the end, is really, like, even for me, what Doogie's just about. Like, when you think you want to have a party and have some fun, you don't want some. I mean, don't get me wrong, we all like all kinds of different music, but to me, you want like this upbeat, fun, like not so angry, you know. Because
listen, I love being sad.
yeah, right.
I love,
perfectly,
so, after that, I get out of the gym and I feel great. Like, I don't know why I do this, but I have a sad song playlist. I love listening to that song.
Right.
I love listening to that playlist after the gym. I love being sad, because you can't have the happy times without the sad times.
Right.
So,
One or the other.
but yeah, you're absolutely right. I love that about Doogie, is that, and that's just always been our reality. It's just that, like, yeah, life can be bad, it can be horrible and sad, but at the end of the day, like, you have to carry on, like, and you have to pick it up, you have to go on with it. So that's what I've always hoped our music would kind of do for people. So even after putting it on Spotify, it's been great to see people accessing it and then like Snapchatting me about it or showing their kids about it, which is just, oh, that makes me feel older than dirt.
Right.
Like, my buddy will send me a Snapchat like, oh, we're just jamming in the car with the kids to Doogie. I'm like, oh God. Which I always appreciate the plays on Spotify, but
yeah, it started early though. Yeah, no, that's great. And I feel like, again, if you're in the local area and you guys are having a party or something, you need to get you want some music, you want some hobby. These are the type of people you want over there. You want Doogie there playing some music for you as well too. And is that something as well too? Like if somebody says locally, or if somebody say, hey, I'm doing this thing or having a party or doing whatever, would you guys be interested in playing? Like, is that something you guys can talk about? I mean, I'm sure like that's not something that, I got to pay for your time, I would imagine as well too.
If there's an opportunity to play, like, we'll do it.
Yeah,
Like,
cool.
I mean, we've played for nothing. I mean, we've played at GameStops for pizza and soda.
That's true. That's very true.
I mean, we are all very fortunate now as adults to have better jobs where we never made the band thing about money.
Right.
It was always nice to get paid, especially if we're driving like an hour or something like that, so we can at least sell some shirts, make some money back for gas. Somebody, if they buy us food, great. Like, that, even better if they buy us food.
Right.
Like, if they feed us and maybe give us some beers or
booze
some
up,
soda, booze up, like, cool,
awesome.
Perfect. Money is kind of a bonus there, which, like I said, it's always nice to get paid.
Right.
But yeah, like, it's never been our goal to make this like a paid gig. But if somebody's like, hey, we're playing would you guys come play a graduation party? We'll feed you, throw in some booze and whatever else you guys want. Like, yeah, sure. We've definitely done that before too.
I love it. Awesome. What do you feel like overall is the hardest part about maintaining, even whether hobby or not, or just for fun or just because you guys love it, to maintain doing this for so long? Like, what is that?
I think just the desire to keep making music, but I think the hardest part is just finding the time. because we're all adults now. So that's I'm glad we've been doing it for so long because it is easier to come back after being away from it for a little bit. It's much easier to come back and still have that passion. And even when we walk away from it for a little bit, it is because we've done this a couple times. We didn't play a lot during the pandemic because obviously that was going on. But then when we were able to get back together, there's just such an energy that we all feel in the room when we all play together, and I can see it in basically these men who are my brothers. Like I can see it in their faces as we all just come back together, playing the songs and playing the music and just having a laugh and just enjoying it. Like like I said, I can be away from it now and not feel anything, but I know as soon as we start back up, it'll bring us all back together.
And do you guys get a chance to practice often, or what does that look like? Or do you guys have like dedicated times where you say, hey, like let's dust a little bit of the instruments off and get together and kind of work on something?
I mean, it was usually like Wednesday nights, but now it's just been since we've taken some time off since Jalen was pursuing other projects. It's been difficult to get back together.
Sure.
But it's always on our minds. You know, we have a group chat and it's always on our minds, whether or not we're just going to hang out, have a few tacos or whatever. Like it's always on our mind to get back together.
Right
but
on.
you know, things are just busier now. Like Matt's pursuing a lot more stuff in his career.
He is
know.
a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's doing great, and it's so great to see him doing so well. And then Casey's got a couple kids, and you know, I've been dating somebody for a couple years now who has a couple kids, so doing more of that kind of stuff. So it's difficult to find time, but I don't think the passion will ever leave us. Honestly, we chat almost every single day. You know, keeping the friendship alive and whatnot. And then, like I said, it's one of those things where these guys are like my brothers. Like, it's whenever we hang out, it's like no time has passed.
That's
like,
cool.
It's so nice to just, you know, sit around and give each other shit and then just have a few laughs. Have a good time.
That's how you know. That's how you know. And so you guys know if you're checking this out on video out on YouTube right now as well too, or even live right now on Twitch. I have been doing just a quick loop of some video of them playing on stage and stuff as well too. So. Make sure to kind of check that out as well too. It's pretty cool to see all that. I appreciate you getting that over to me because I was thinking like, man, that would be kind of cool to kind of showcase some of that stuff because the guy I do the main banter and babble with, it was kind of his idea, but I kind of stole it, so it's actually more my idea. But no, that's kind of what I figured too. And you know, you talk about like you know, the kids and things like that too, and like, you know, that seems to me like what I know of you and seeing how you and your dad get you know, or interact and how nice he is, it seems like a really good role for you. You probably enjoying that as well too.
I am. You know, I'm not someone who ever wanted to really have kids of my own, and this is the first relationship I've ever been in with someone with kids. But her and I were also friends for 15 years before we started dating, so we were kind of acquaintances and whatnot. So we knew each other, and it's different, and I enjoy a lot of aspects of it, and then there's other aspects of it where I'm like, oh boy, all right, okay,
right.
All right, well, this is different. And the kids are a little older too. They're 13 and 15, so I'm glad I'm at that point because I mean, as much as I enjoy being around little kids and like they're easy to get along with and stuff like too, I'm just like, what do I do with this? Like, I don't know.
Right. A little bit more of a funner age. Probably
I can have a conversation with them and they can understand what I'm saying, so that's nice. And it's a more formative time personally for me. I know that like as a teenager, that's when I started coming into all the people who were going to be my friends for the rest of my life, like yourself, like, or the guys or anything. I just went to a buddy's wedding and we've been friends since, God, we were 12 or 13 years old. Like, so,
wow.
So it's cool to see that kind of form in these kids, but then also show them some of the things that I love. Like I get to take them to the movies every once in a while. Like I took the youngest, Abel, he's 13. I got to take him to see Terminator 2. Because it was his birthday, he was a little bummed out. Because some teenage stuff going on.
Usual.
So I was like, "Hey man, like, there's a movie playing. I'd like to take you to go see because it was the first R-rated movie my dad ever took me to go see.
No shit.
So I thought it'd be cool if I took you to go see it too.
That's cool.
And I wanted to take him to a movie regardless, but then when I looked at what movies are playing, I could not believe Terminator 2 was playing. So I was like, what luck? Like, what kismet? And he was glued to that thing the whole time. And I was just like so excited to like look at him and just, as soon as we were walking out of the theater, I'm like, what'd you think? He's like, oh, it was amazing. I was like, yeah. And then I got to like explain all the stuff that I knew about it. I was like, yeah, that helicopter flying under the bridge, that was real. They really did that. And I'm like, He's like, what? And so that's kind of just cool to see that kind of stuff
That's
kind of spark
awesome.
in them and
Share that
and
magic.
yeah, exactly. So
That's
then we just got back from Six Flags.
Yeah, saw that. Looked like
Yeah,
a good time.
it was a blast. It was so much fun. Like yeah, we were there for 2 days, and yeah, we couldn't have asked for a better vacation like
That's great.
in there. So that was a really good time.
That's cool. And you know, Terminator 2, man, you say that too. And like, I know we're already talking about some of these great movies today. I mean, you were here like 10 minutes before we went live. We're already talking about all these great movies and stuff. And that's another one as well too. Like, I could go on and on about that series and Jesus and how often I went through that VHS tape growing up as a kid as well too. And where do you classify it? Is it sci-fi, action? Like, I mean, Jesus, I mean, you really don't know, drama. You know what I mean? Like, come on, it's definitely one of the goats. So, I'm glad you're able to share that with him as well too. So, you know, so talking about just kind of local music in general as well too. Are there, you know, maybe some bands around here that you're like, hey, these guys been around for a while. Like, don't sleep on them. These are folks I also like as well too. I feel like I know a couple as well too. But you know, just kind of curious, like, far as you, like, who are some people around here that you kind of like to?
Yeah, it's hard to say, but like anybody that, cause they don't really stick around. Unfortunately, Saginaw doesn't really have a
No.
big music scene anymore.
I can really only think of one, honestly.
I mean,
Besides you guys.
yeah, we have really great friends in a band called Bring Your Best, and
Okay.
I love them. They're really great dudes. They have kind of, I feel like, a same mentality as us, where
Yeah.
they just have more kind of upbeat kind of stylings and whatnot, and they are very incredibly talented dudes that have been in a few other bands. My Red Ice is a new band that's on the scene right now. A couple of guys from that band are in there, but also my one of my best friends, Al, is in there. He's the new drummer for them,
Cool.
and they've been doing really great. They're blowing up on a lot of shows too, so they've been doing really well. But yeah, gosh, it's hard to say. Like, I really wish Saginaw had more places to play.
I know it feels like there's really only two that I can think of that really, you know, for when I first started getting to Saginaw, it was always the Jesus Christ, State Street. Why did my brain just stop?
Oh, White's Bar.
White's Bar.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Yep.
my God, you
Yeah,
know,
we love White's Bar. It's
Yeah.
like we've played there a ton of times, but
yeah,
it's not. It's just not a great venue for for bringing in a lot of people, I guess. Like,
It's-
I don't know.
it's tiny.
It's so tiny.
it is. It is. There's a magic there.
There, absolutely,
But it's
absolutely. No,
tiny.
it is. It's just tiny, and it's a difficult venue to play, but it's one of our favorites of all time
Right.
because you have such a crammed in atmosphere. You just feel the energy of all the people there, and it's something really special there.
Mhm.
But yeah, unfortunately, it just I don't know. I wish it could be so much bigger and so much more.
Right. That's fair. That's fair. And is it the pub? I want to say as well too is another one that we're
Yeah,
at
yep.
least at some points. I feel like
Yeah, we used to play there a lot.
That's-
and,
that's what I think-
a lot. They used to be kind of our home.
that's what I kind of thought. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we had a lot of ties to there, especially about wanting to play shows, and they would let us like kind of put our own shows together and whatnot too.
Cool.
So that was great because then we get to play with a lot of bands that we loved. And it's like, oh hey, we just heard about this band across the state. Have you seen them? Cool, we can bring them over here. And so that was a really
That's
cool
cool.
opportunity to be able to do that for a long time.
Yeah.
And then there was the Counterculture. It was open for a little while, and our friends Ben and CJ ran that, and they did
Yeah,
a
that was-
fantastic job
yeah,
with that.
for a
But
little
then they
while,
just got
yeah.
other opportunities and had to move on from
Yeah.
it. But I really wish that would have done more because
Mm-hmm.
that was a really really cool scene for that too. And then there's that other new venue,
The Vault, right?
The Vault. Yeah.
that's really trying to like. There, have you been there?
No, I haven't been. I haven't had. I
Man,
haven't
I'll
had the
tell you
opportunity
what,
to go there.
It's tucked over near where I used to live, and it's weird because you get on this like side street, and it looks
Yeah.
like every crazy venue you go to, it's like in this almost like you're about to drive into an industrial park.
Yeah.
And you get to, and you're like, what the hell? Like, what the hell is this doing out here? Looks, I think it might be like an old VFW or something.
Mm.
And then you get in there, and they've remodeled this place. It's like high ceiling, a balcony area. Like we saw a wrestling show there recently for PPW, and Rohit was in town, so we were able to catch him. And I'm in here looking around with Matt Chris going like, and we're both like, this place is gnarly.
Yeah. No, I've seen the
Like,
pictures inside. And I was like,
dude,
this looks rad.
what? Yeah.
Like-
I mean, they've had, I don't know. I'm trying to think what band they had there recently. It's just like one of those bands where you're like, oh, it's a band I don't really care about. I wish I could think a couple names of them as well too.
I mean, I saw one band that we missed the opportunity to go see was like Jimmy's Chicken Shack played there, and I was like, Jimmy's Chicken Shack is still around? Like, my God. But yeah, I've seen pictures and I've seen some of the bands they bring in. I was like, that seems really rad. But
Right.
even when I heard about shows being played there, I was like, the Vault, like the Bay City Vault. I thought that place closed down because there was a venue.
There
called-
was the
old Indian Berries was
Yeah.
then the Vault, and I was like, what? And then I saw the map, I'm like, where the hell is that?
I know, man. I know it's weird, and And I want to say it's like something like it's literally like a band. I don't think it was them, but it's like a band like Hinder or something like that, and that's like one of their big ones that they tout around there as well too. Britt actually mentioned it as well too. You guys worked with Excellency as well too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I
Troy
know they
over
just
at
had their
Excellency.
they had their big festival there too recently, a couple weeks back as well too. She was there, but and you know somebody I think that works with the crew, right?
Oh, at Excellency, yeah. Troy runs all of that, and he's been doing a fantastic job doing all that stuff. We play a lot of shows for them too, and we've been trying to get on Excellency Fest, but it always falls at a time like when
too tough,
just too tough for us. Either it's been somebody's been out of town. I think 1 year like Jalen was on a vacation during that. He was in England with his wife, so it's just or Matt's weekends are hard because Matt's a DJ, so he's always doing
big into that right now.
He's doing a great job with that too. Like so, so that's been really tough. But Excellency, those people put on so many shows, and they do a fantastic job with it too.
Yeah, so that's a big local thing right now too. It's kind of neat. So, yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up, Rick. 'Cause I forgot about that as well too. So, so as far as shows and doing shows and different venues and stuff that you've done, is there any like crazy story you got that maybe you could share?
Oh gosh,
you probably got a handful of them, I bet, but is there one that comes to mind? Like, I just can't believe it was like a series of events or something wild happened.
Yeah, one time. So one that comes to mind is we were on tour, and this was like I say on tour as if it's some glamorous thing, as we were like riding around in our old drummer's like mom's minivan the whole tour. And we booked our own shows. So we played at a place called Blind Bob's in Cincinnati.
Oh, okay.
And
out of state. That's like a tour.
Yeah. We had a few shows. Like it was great. No, but the tour itself was fantastic. We had a fun time, and it really brought us together closer as a band. But yeah, so we were playing this place. I want to say it's Blind Bob's in Cincinnati, and we were playing with some hair metal glam rock band called like the Brooklyn Boys or something that was not us at all. Like we're like, okay, great. So we played. We got there. And this man approaches us, and he's just like asking for money, and we're like, "Well, we don't have money. We're like, we're a band on tour, but we can buy you a beer or something, man." And he's like, "Oh, great!" And so his name was George, and he started hanging out, and he seemed like a really cool dude. And we play our set to nobody except for George and maybe a couple other bar patrons, and it's like, "All right, great, whatever." And George asked, like, "Hey, man, I used to play in a band. Like, can I hop on the bass real quick?" And we're like, "All right, buddy." Like. I'm going to start taking my stuff down if you want to hop on the bass. And then he hopped on the bass, and he was amazing.
Oh, shit.
He was one of the most phenomenal bass players I've ever heard. And our drummer was jamming with him. And then he was like, "Hey, man, let me hop on them drums, too." We're like, "Okay, bud." Like, he hopped on the drums, and he was amazing. And, like, we hung out with him for a little bit, and he bought him a few drinks, and he told us these stories about all these like, I used to play with the Four Tops and the Commodores and, like, all these amazing, prolific bands. And we're like, wow, what a cool dude. So our drummer and Casey, the bass player, start loading everything up, and Matt and I hang back so we can buy a round of beers for everybody. And we're sitting there, and I bought a pitcher of beer, and we get a phone call not like 5 minutes later. Then it's our drummer. He's like, get in the car, we're running. We're running, we're coming, just get in the car as soon as we get there. I was like, what's happening? I'm imagining the panic in his voice that Casey has been shot or something like that. I was like, what is it? Where'd you guys go? He's like, George took us to a crack house, and the cops are following us. We're like, all right. So I chugged a pitcher of beer. I paid $10 for it. I was like, I'm not leaving this behind. So I chugged a pitcher of beer, and they come flying up, and we just jumped in the car and took off. George took us to a crack house, and as soon as we pulled away, like the cops started following us, and we pulled up to the house, and George was like, "Come on, guys, let's just go smoke some crack for a little bit." And they're like, "We're gone, bye." And they left, and it was the cop followed them for a while. It was a pretty crazy story. So
that is not exactly where I thought that was going to turn.
No,
at all.
No, it was
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay. That classifies as a crazy thing to happen at a show. Holy shit. What's your favorite? I know I think you kind of touched base with it, but I do want to just kind of hear you say it. Like, what is your favorite place? Maybe it's not even necessarily around here. Maybe it's just you played one time somewhere, you're like, man, that was the coolest place to play. Or, maybe it is a place that you played consistently at, but what's your favorite spot you played at?
I have a lot of great memories of playing the Hamilton Street Pub. Like, a lot of fantastic memories playing there. I mean, some of my favorites were things that I never thought would happen, which is like our buddy used to run Wednesday nights there. and he would have the place packed on a Wednesday night
Damn.
in the middle of the week. It's just, and the place is packed, and I really feel like it was a right place, right time for a lot of people too, because
Sure.
we were all going to college. We had a lot of friends in college, so it was easy to get them out. But then also we had a lot of local bands that we were playing with too that also just had more friends, and but that was my home for so long, to play
Right.
there and feel like a real family there. But I think probably one of the coolest venues I've ever played was we got to play Clutch Cargo's one time. We played for a battle of the bands there.
Is that Lansing? Where's that at? Clutch Cargoes.
I can't remember where Clutch Cargo's is. It was Pontiac.
Is it farther south that way?
Yeah, it's closed now
Okay.
because it was a church, and then they changed it into a venue,
Yeah.
and then they went
They
back
call
to
that
being
the
a church.
temple at one point too, maybe.
I don't know.
Man, I'm trying to. Maybe I might be getting, because I used to go to Lansing local stuff.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
Growing
Pontiac
up, so
for sure. But
Fair enough.
yeah, huge stage. Then they had like a
It is
basement
Pontiac,
stage.
okay.
Oh, cool. They had like a basement stage too. And we got to play the main stage there for a battle of the bands, and yeah, that was just an amazing experience. Had a lot of
Wow,
friends
yeah.
drive down. It was a harrowing experience because our drummers, we were supposed to take the van down, and it was like the middle of February, and it was freezing cold out, and his passenger window wouldn't roll
Oh
up.
fuck.
So we had to call an audible and take two cars and try and put everything in these two tiny cars, and it was just freezing there. We got there, and like the sound guy hadn't set up yet, because there was probably 40 50 bands playing that day, but the sound guy got caught up because there was like an ice storm the night before. It was insane. Like it was a great experience to be able to play
Right.
like such a huge stage that I've seen other huge bands play. So that was really, really cool.
That's cool. That's cool. Wow. 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 Can't even imagine looking out at a sea of people like that as well too.
Yeah, that's what the pub felt like so much though. Like, even though, I mean, it just, you'd have it packed with like maybe like 100 people in there, but I just distinctly remember so many experiences of people singing my own lyrics into my face. And that was such a weird and like self-actualizing experience
Yeah.
to like see that something that like lyrics that I had written affected people enough for them to like know them. Like it was such a really amazing moment. I think
That's
about
awesome.
that a lot, of that, because I obviously see that at concerts where like a lead singer will lean down and like people are singing their songs, but just to see that amongst like this kind of small crowd of people is such a it's such an amazing experience as somebody who
Yeah.
just puts so much of my self experience into the
Yeah.
lyrics and into writing the songs
Yeah.
and whatnot. And I feel like that's a difficult part about writing lyrics, especially lately, is just trying to put my own experiences into them and not being like, well, this is really depressing.
Right. Finding that balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be a good feeling though. That definitely I can see being surreal as well too. And let me ask this: and we talked about the pub a couple times, and maybe I'm crazy again. Like I clearly I don't know a lot about the local music scene nearly as much as you, obviously. But did the pub change hands and ownership? Is that kind of what killed some of that? If I remember,
Yeah, I would say so.
I feel like
yeah.
that was something
I know it
remember
because I
recall.
worked at the pub for a little while too.
Okay.
I was a bartender there for a little while, and yeah, it had changed hands, changed management, and they invited us back to play, and I was like, I'm good. Like,
wasn't the same.
yeah, it just wasn't the same. And then they also let go of like some of the people who were kind of like family members there, like some of the sound people and other people there, like.
That's
And it's just like no, like there was a guy Juan who worked there. He was the sound guy there for a long time, and he took a trash sound system and made us sound like gods. Like he was amazing at his job. He was a good dude to us, and he treated us like family. So I think that was part of the thing that was like, well, he's not going to be there. I don't think we will be
That's
either.
fair.
Like, yeah, I mean, with local businesses, I wish them nothing but luck. You know,
Yeah.
I have no ill will towards the pub necessarily, but you know, it just isn't the same as
Right.
it used to be.
Right. Okay. And I think I kind of remember that too, because I feel like I remember, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, like they changed hands, they kind of cut all the music out for a minute,
Yeah,
and then they were trying to like, because then they realized they fucked up, and they tried to change it, and it
Yeah.
was just like it never ever.
Yeah,
took
because
off like it
Troy,
used to.
who runs Excellency now, was doing the booking
Okay.
there
There you go.
for quite a while, and then
Connect
then they just
dots.
kind of cut that all out. And I think Troy was trying to make a move at that point, but I think that really inspired him to really
Yeah.
kick things into gear. But I could be wrong. He might have been doing stuff before that at that point. But yeah, I remember that he was doing the booking there for quite a while too.
Okay. Doesn't Alex have something to do with Excellency a little bit too? Or does he know some of the folks around maybe?
He knows a lot of folks there. I know he's like kind of volunteered or worked a
Maybe
couple
that's what it
Excellency
is.
Fests as well. So
That's what it is. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I'm glad I wasn't too crazy on that. Like I said, I recall that the pub thing. There was some catalyst thing, and I thought it was
Yeah, and I think
that.
I was working there when it changed hands, and like it, things like that change hands. They just like new owners come in with a lot of new ideas. That like it's like, well, what if you just came to us and asked us what we think you guys
Yeah.
should do, like, because and then I. It's like, yeah, there needed to be a lot more investment into equipment and stuff.
Right. Wow.
But yeah, it is what it is. Like things happen.
I mean, at the very least, you guys got to experience a time that you can say that, even though you might never be able to get back to that, but you
Yeah.
experienced it's a time frame that was pretty special. And
Oh yeah,
that's
for
pretty
real.
awesome.
And I actually just found this. My buddy used to run the Wednesday nights there and Thursday nights eventually. Like, but it was called Forefront Productions, and their Facebook is still active. Well, it's still up, and there's just like probably 7 or 8 years worth of photos on there,
Oh,
and it's
shit.
just so cool to look back at it. Like, because they were heavy on the photography for the bands and whatnot there, and
That's
it's
awesome,
so
too.
awesome to see just like I said, a Tuesday or a Wednesday night, and that place would be packed full of people,
man.
and it was crazy that they were able to do that.
That's wild too. And I feel like there was a point in my life, like I think I just got into the age of point. I'm 44 now, knocking on 45, and I think that was just outside of the point in my life where I was just like, you know what? I don't think the outside bar scene's me as well too, because I know a lot of people, and I knew you guys were playing. I know a lot of people that were out there, hitting up the pub and doing that sort of stuff as well too. And I think I was just like, I can't anymore. Like,
Yeah, no,
too
I don't
past
blame you
it.
too. It was like we partied a lot.
Yeah, I feel like that's the kind of stuff I heard. Like you guys partying hard out there too. So,
Oh God, I can't tell you how many Smirnoff ices I've had to chug at the Hamilton Street pub.
God, those are delicious, man. Those bomb pop ones too.
Okay, but these are the originals.
Like the black label
the
and the black and red,
label
yeah,
ones,
okay.
and like I would get rot guts so easily.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
yeah.
I got that's
The other ones,
term for
any
it.
any other flavored ones, I could drink,
Yeah.
I could chug one all night long.
Yeah.
But like those originals, like the triple X distilled
God,
whatever.
Jesus,
Oh my God,
absolute
yeah.
rock gut. You're right.
And then like once it happened once, everybody just started trying to ice us all night, and I'm like, oh God, and yeah.
Fuckers.
Yeah, definitely my 30th birthday. Like it was all fireball shots, and this is when Fireball had just come out, so
Oh,
it's like
man.
all fireball shots. I
Yeah.
was trying to keep it low key, and then our bass player Casey hoed me out, and he was like, "It's Russell's birthday" on stage. I was like, I hate your guts because I know what's going to happen now. And thank you to everybody who was willing to put money up to
Right.
give me booze.
Get you drunk, right.
Absolutely no hate towards them. But God, I was drinking Fireball. I liked all these Fireball shots, and then I got iced, I think, twice, and I was good until I ran out of water on stage. And then because I just couldn't dissipate it anymore.
Yeah.
And then I ran to the bathroom and
Yeah,
started throwing up. Like
fuck
in
that.
the middle of a song, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna throw up. This is going to happen." I was like, I swallowed and just finished the song, and I booked it off stage. And then thank God we had a lot of friends there who kind of like the guys just played some covers, so people came up and sang. It was 3 songs later. I came up, played 3 more songs, and finished
Good
the
to
night
go.
out.
What a
Like
champ.
a nice puking rally. Like,
What a fucking
my
champ.
God.
Awesome. So clearly her crack house is something. You've had a lot of great parties. Have you ever had an instrument stolen by chance?
Yeah. Well, we were partying. We played a show, and then we were partying at a friend's house over on Michigan.
Yeah.
And we had just gotten back from tour not too long before that. It was with Alex was our drummer.
Yeah.
And our van door broke on tour, and so we were trying to like leave a hotel because the hotel was trash. I'm surprised we didn't bring bed bugs back from that place because it was awful. We just needed a place to stay. And we think somebody tried to break into the van the night before while we were on tour because the passenger door was broken, like the sliding door.
I'll bet you.
So we ran to a hardware store as we're holding the door shut, and we got like a bungee cord and just wrapped it. And then we just let that happen for a while. I mean, it was Al's van, so it was like, okay, like what do we do about this? He's like, whatever, don't worry about it. And then yeah, we just played a show. We were partying at a friend's house. The van and a bunch of other cars were parked behind the house. And yeah, somebody reached in and stole my keyboard. Like they
Stole your keyboard.
stole it right out of there. Like I was devastated.
I'll bet.
Yeah. Because and then they stole some other stuff. I think that was all they got from us was the keyboard. And then they stole some other stuff like phones and iPods and stuff out of people's cars. But yeah,
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
it was ridiculous. Yeah, I was heartbroken, especially because that was the second one we had because our first guitar player owned the first Alesis. He quit the band. And then I found one on Craigslist for $250. I met a guy up at 7-Eleven down at U of M, bought it from him, loved it, had it. And then like anyone after that, I think I could only find for like $400 or $500, and I
Yeah.
just didn't have that kind of cash. I was like, well, I guess we'll figure this out later. Yeah, and then I was at work one day, and Matt Savage calls me up, and he's like, somebody at Guitar Center has your keyboard. I was like, what? He's like, so I'm at Guitar Center right now because I had gone there and told them, hey, if you see this keyboard, to call us. And our name was spray painted on the bottom of it. I had spray painted Doogie on the bottom of it. And I'm at work, and Matt's like, what do I do? I was like, do whatever, like get the keyboard back. Because then Guitar Center had called him up. It's like, hey, yeah, we have somebody here trying to sell your keyboard that you told us about. What should we do? And he's like, what should you do? Call the police.
Yeah, get a knife, stab him.
That guy stole it from. That's stolen.
No
so
shit.
yeah, that guy got arrested. Matt went there, picked up the guitar, and like a victory trophy, walked into Outback Steakhouse,
Holy
holding that over his
shit,
head.
that's sweet.
Yeah, and I still have it to this day. That's still
Man,
the
you
same
got it
boy
back.
I'm rocking with. So
Damn. How long was it gone?
I want to say it was gone at least a month or so.
Okay. So yeah, it was within that. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we working at GameStop, we dealt with stolen merch all the damn time. So
yeah, we had gone around to pawn shops and stuff like that, just to kind of like gone around town, like, hey, here, like, this is what we have coming in. Like, if you see it, please give me a call. And but it was a while. So it was that we just didn't hear anything. So we just suspected that we never would. And they couldn't do anything with it because they didn't take the power pack with it. And it's the Alesis uses an incredibly specific power source.
So even
because we found that out the hard way when we'd forgotten it for shows and like had to play acoustic or something like that.
Right. Wow. That's well, I'm glad they got arrested. I mean, at the very least. So
yeah, I don't know what happened to that guy, but fuck that dude.
Fuck that dude. Goddamn right. So let's see. So I mean, your music definitely, and we've already kind of established kind of party music. It's fun. It's upbeat. Do you dance on stage a little bit too? You have a good time?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I try to kind of keep the hype going and stuff like that. Like, I definitely feel more confident within the last like 10 years about moving around on stage and whatnot. So yeah, that definitely. I try to.
Right. That's fair. I'm
definitely not as active as I used to be, but I'm hoping once we get back out there, now that I've been like on a bigger, doing more for my health, that I can be more active on stage once we get back out there.
Now, are you gonna get back into breakdancing? Because I've heard you're a pretty good breakdancer as well too. Is that, you know anything about that? About breakdancing?
I don't know. It could have been the time that I breakdanced and I broke a foosball table.
This could be that time.
Yeah. Oh gosh, the time that I got so drunk that I attacked my roommate with a hammer. Yeah.
Jeez, oh Pete.
Yeah, I was just a groomsman in his wedding too. So,
you guys are still good.
We let bygones be bygones on that one.
Right.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us.
right. Shoot somebody with a hammer. So yeah, so you bust out the cardboard and that's how you break dance?
Yeah, I think I got out of I broke out a beanbag chair for this one.
Yeah.
I broke that out and then tried to really swept the leg on that one because I remember
Eddie Gordo the shit out of
that foosball table leg just going flying. And then I was just like, well, I gotta go. Bye.
Is that what you did? You exited? Oh shit.
I pieced out of there and I lived like 2 blocks away across State Street, so I was hammered trying to walking across State Street.
4 lanes, 5 lanes, technically.
Yeah, I was like, It was not a great time.
Brave. Good. Okay. Well, I heard you were a breakdancer.
I also thought there was maybe somebody told you about like a combo emergency, but if you hadn't heard about that, then we won't go into that.
Oh, we'll ask about that for sure. No, you brought it up, so that's on you now. So we're gonna kind of move on a little bit from Doogie. That was I feel like a lot of folks around here that do know you, at least initially know you from Doogie. If you guys, like I said, get a chance, hop on Spotify, check out Doogie. If you can't find him or you have a hard time, let me know. I'll hook you up. DM me as well too. Like I said, it's fun, exciting party music. You got to check them out. It's upbeat as hell, and you guys have been doing it for so long. You can tell you guys are masters at your craft, and I hope you guys keep doing it as well too.
And it is funny that like you say that kind of known locally, and it is funny that I will go to some of the most random places. And someone will just be like, "You the lead singer from Doogie?" I'm like, Jesus Christ, how long is this going to follow me around? We've played shows in Detroit now, but at the time I was going to go see the band Thursday in Detroit with my best friend, and we were there pretty early. Like, let's go check out the merch. There's nobody there at that point. And we walk up, and I used to wear my jean vest all the time, with all the shit all over it. Yeah. And And we're looking at the merch, and some guy walks up to me. He's like, "Hey, man, I got a question for you." I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" Because I would get a lot of questions about the vest. Like, where'd you get this patch? Or what's this pin for? Like, what's that? Like, yeah, man, what's up? You lead singer Doogie? Like, yeah, that's me. He's like, "Oh, you guys are awesome." I was
That's
like,
fucking cool.
"Cool, cool, cool." I don't know how to deal with interactions
It's
like
hard
that.
right?
It's
Yeah.
very
It's gotta
difficult. So
be.
I'm just like, and I've had a lot of blackout drunk days in my 20s. So I was like, whenever people are like about to ask me a question, I'm like, oh no, what did I do?
Did I bring a hammer at him?
Yeah, what did I do?
Like, Eddie Gordo, your shit.
But yeah, but it's such a weird experience.
Yeah.
But it always happens around my best friend, who it seems, and then she's laughing so hard that like no sound is coming out of her mouth, and I'm just like, cool.
It is cool. It is cool. I get that reference. So you have yeah, I want to move on a little bit. So we talked about that you're and I always say nerd because that's what I call myself. I don't know if that's fine to call you as well too. Just you're big into fandoms, nerdoms as well too. But you actually have listed on FB on the old Facebook that you're a test subject from Aperture Science Labs. Shouldn't you be doing some testing right now? And how the hell did you get out?
There's always testing to be done.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Which is funny too, because this used to be an Aperture Science bottle too.
Right.
So,
really?
Yeah, because I really wanted one. They were very limited on how they made them. So I just made my own, and then it all started peeling off. So I was like, oh nuts. But yeah, no, God, I love that game so much.
I know,
though.
man. That is a. I don't know. I feel like sometimes these days we get caught up in gaming, and like there's a lot of AAA. I think nowadays we're seeing a lot of smaller studios take some stands up too, but there's just certain games in time that bring the special magic, and that is certainly one of those series or games or whatever. Because like Matt, Chris, and I played some like 2-player Portal, like Portal 2 or whatever it was, and like. Man, you just have these memories of some of those games like that as well too. So
yeah, I mean, I have a Cave Johnson painting hanging up on my bathroom door like at home. That's
awesome.
like there's just it's such a memorable franchise that absolutely hands down one of my favorites.
Just wish we'd get more of that kind of magic, and I guess we still do for some people. But do you play games still at all, or do you have much time these days?
Yeah, I mean, I play games when I can. Yeah. Like, gosh, I was just playing Hi-Fi Rush not too long ago.
That's pretty gnarly.
I'm really glad that came to PlayStation because I mostly game on PS5.
Yeah.
My girlfriend and I play Fortnite every week. She got me into that. I was never an online game person.
Yeah.
Especially like multiplayer kind of PvP, PvE, anything like that. I hate people, and I just want to go home and enjoy my game that I get to be away from people.
I prefer single player games too. Overall.
I just want to get lost in my story. I want to get lost in my RPG and just like be swept away for a little while. I mean, I used to play Call of Duties with my buddies, like Modern Warfare 2 and all that stuff, but I could only do it when I was like after the bar, when I'd be so hammered, where I just didn't care that I was getting slaughtered all the time because I didn't have 12 hours a day to dedicate to this stuff. Just goofing off, and then getting a kill in once in a while just to piss off other people. Or the Halo 3 days. I played a lot of like local Halo 3 with my buddies. Like,
miss those days too.
Yeah, that was such a slice in time that like it can't be replicated.
And we try, and it never ends up going. It never feels like that again. Astrobot dropped today. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I just saw that actually.
Yeah, and it's gotten insane reviews. They're calling it like the game of the decade when it comes to platforming. So I was talking to Britt earlier. I think I'm gonna end up picking it up, and maybe we'll pass the controller back and forth on it because I think that would be a fun game for us to do that on. And I know my buddy Brent, who I do the show with, he's picked it up. He's already saying good stuff about it as well too. So that might be something even to look at as well too. That just dropped today, that Astrobot. So that's pretty exciting. But I do want to ask. I kind of back to the original question though. Is the cake a lie?
No.
Okay, that's all I needed to hear. So as far as pop culture and just even fandoms in general. What is your top 3? This might be hard. I feel like this is hard for me too. Top 3 favorite franchises or fandom. Can you do that? Is that easy for you?
If we broke it down into categories like movies or like video games, I think it'd be a lot easier. But I would definitely say that like in general, I mean, it's hard not to say Star Wars because I'm so deep into Star Wars. But I feel like that's kind of I feel like. Not that everybody loves Star Wars, but it feels more like a given that Star Wars is so ingrained in our pop culture now that like it's
not overly surprising.
Yeah, it's not overly surprising. But I would have probably BioShock is probably one of my favorite franchises of all time. I got so sucked into that world and the lore and Yeah, everything about that I just loved.
Sequels as well too. You enjoy
Sequels as
all?
well too.
Yeah.
Infinite is not perfect. It is 100% a flawed game and not
Mhm.
what we were promised, but I still love it
Yeah, you
all
still
the
love
same.
it.
I still love the concepts of it. I still love the ideas of it, and not to spoil anything for anybody, but the ending really circles back and really brings the whole universe together
Cool.
on it. I wish Ken Levine was still doing more stuff in the BioShock, but I think about 2K's not around anymore, maybe,
Uh,
or
I don't know if that version or them portions of those are.
yeah.
I mean, at 2K, God, 2K did get bought by somebody. I think 2K is still around because they still put out like the WWE 2Ks, but it's probably I think it's just a different maybe publisher. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. But God, yeah, BioShock, hands down, one of my
Okay.
favorite franchises. So much so that I got to actually meet one of the character designers, the lead character designers, by completely by accident. I was working in a bar in Bay City, and these two guys came in. One guy was wearing a BioShock T-shirt, and I was like, "Oh, is that a?" It was like a BioShock Infinite shirt. So "Is that a BioShock shirt?" He's like, "It is." I'm like, "I love those games. That's awesome." And then I went about my business. They ordered some beers. I brought them out like their food and everything. The guy later came up to the bar, and I was like, "Hey man, what's up? Did you guys need something?" He goes, "No, actually, like." You said you're a big BioShock fan. I was like, yeah, it's one of my favorite franchises of all time. It's one of my favorite games. He's like, oh, I'm actually one of the lead character designers for BioShock. And in my
Holy
mind, I'm going,
shit. Sure.
okay,
Yeah.
in Bay City, all right, buddy.
Right.
He's like, would you like me to draw you a sketch or something like that? And I was like, I had my sketch pad on me, so I was like, yeah, that would be amazing. I just have like a couple markers and a sketch pad. Yeah, come to find out, his name is Rob Waters. He created the Splicers. He created the Songbird. He did this like a beautiful Songbird sketch for me. Like it's one of a
No
kind, and I just
shit.
have it hanging up in my house, and it was such a cool random happenstance. So
Just gotta know what the fuck was he
yeah,
doing in Bay City?
I guess his brother lives in Bay City. Like he's from Bay City, so he was just home visiting because
Isn't that cool?
yeah. It was such a cool random happenstance, and
the
I treasure that
Yeah.
that forever. Like it's such a cool thing to own from one of my favorite franchises.
That's wild. I can only imagine something like that.
Gosh, the all pop culture. God, hard to not say Terminator, despite how god awful some of those movies can be.
Yes. Did you
Still,
watch Zero yet?
no, I didn't. I heard it was good though. I heard good things, but
You're an anime guy too.
Yeah.
So I mean, dude, I'm telling you, that's some of the best Terminator shit that's been put on in a long fucking time.
yeah, because I added it to my list. I think maybe you posted about it.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody else did, and I was like, okay, add.
Yeah,
like,
I was. We like it, once you get like about halfway through, like I mean it was good,
mhm.
but like as somebody who loves anime anyways, like I'm watching this, I'm like, man, this is really cool take they're kind of doing here. It's telling from a Japanese point of view, and then it just by the end you're like, what the fuck? So yeah, it was great. It was great.
Gosh, yes. So, I mean,
So we got BioShock, Terminator. If you had to bring it in with the third one, I know this is hard because I agree with you. I'm the same way. I always look at it categorizing like
yeah,
genres.
and even
or-
even as ideas come to me, like I was gonna say Ghostbusters. Like I'm huge into
I
Ghostbusters.
feel like that would be one.
While recognizing that there are many flaws within it. Like it's still one of my favorites. I own 2 proton packs now. Like it's still absolutely one of my favorite movies and some of my favorite ideas and franchises.
Yeah.
But yeah, while recognizing some of the flaws within it as well. But yeah, so yeah, I would probably say that
Say that'd be
Ghostbusters
third,
in there
okay.
as well. Yeah.
If I had to guess, I think that would have been one of the ones, at least of your 3, that I would have said at the end of the day. Did you like Frozen Empire?
I haven't watched it all the way through yet, and
Okay.
that's why I'm like almost disappointed in myself about it.
Well,
Because I've seen the reviews, I've heard things about it, and it's one of those things where when I go into movies, even though I've seen reviews, I've always been a person you can't spoil a movie for me. Meaning, like you could tell me the ending of it, even it still won't. I still won't process it until I see it in front of my face. So I've seen all the reviews for it, and I'm just like, so I'm just trying to put those away and still trying to enjoy it. But I have a hard time just like sitting down to watch stuff anymore.
I get it. I feel like it's I don't know. I didn't dislike it as much. It's very far from perfect. I wanted it to lean more into the cartoons because that's what my thought was gonna be. And I think there was a lot of elements of that. It just kind of missed the mark on some of it. I think I think there was too many characters they were trying to focus on, and if they'd just cut a few characters and just kind of tighten the story a little bit, and some of the main arc could have been a little bit, I don't want to say lengthier or just I don't know, just more to it. I think it would have been a fine film. I just think I do say it was a good okay, a super okay film. I think ever since the original, it's been hard to.
Yeah, even 2 is a flawed movie.
Yeah,
Like
and I
two,
still love that
yeah,
too.
I still
Truth be
love
told.
that. Two,
Yeah.
two is a studio film.
Yeah.
2 is a
Yeah.
guys. We loved what you did with the first one. Do the same thing again. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, great.
And then
like,
have the Statue of Liberty walk.
yeah, exactly. I mean, all of I will say the most unflawed of them is the video game. Like the video game to me, perfect.
So the one that came out in like 2010,
2010, yeah, which is like a spirit. It's supposed to be like kind
it
of
was
the
supposed to be the third one because
Yeah.
they all voiced it. They all said it was canon as well
Yep.
too. My only complaint of that is if you played that game on hard, you basically ended up being a cleric for all the other main
Yeah.
characters. That was my biggest gripe, was that like if you played it on a higher difficulty, you're just generally like, I felt like, why am I more powerful than the other Ghostbusters? That was kind of weird, but it was a good experience regardless as
Yeah,
well too. So
yeah.
you just like the little marshmallow guy. Of course you would, just like the little marshmallow guys. No, Frozen Empire, I definitely think it's worth watching. I just think that I almost feel like Afterlife because was just a better film overall because, like I said, for me, Frozen Empire, and that's maybe my own fault, my own expectations, but I just wanted more. I wanted that. I loved that cartoon growing up, and I wanted that feeling.
Oh, for sure. And I think with I really enjoyed Afterlife. Also, again, not without its flaws, but I still, when me and my buddies went to go see it, we were still 3 grown men sobbing in a dark room. Like
Yep.
we were still just 3 grown men just crying tears as at the end of that movie. But I think it should have the next movie should have been more separating from the original and doing
That's fair.
more of its own thing.
Okay, so that's your see. I actually look at that, and that's great because I actually look at that a little bit differently. Like I feel like it would be fine still having the guys there to being almost like passing the torch a little bit.
Yeah.
But the problem again is that the story with Paul Rudd, like they it was too much like, again, so many characters, like you couldn't get a good story going because you were too focusing on all this other stuff going on and whatnot as well too. So but that's fair perspective as well too. I wish it was a little bit. I was really excited for it, so I think because of my own expectations, it was definitely something that I kind of.
I like, as much as I was a huge fan and I had tons of the toys as a kid of the real Ghostbusters. I also really loved the Extreme Ghostbusters cartoon.
Was that good?
It was. I loved it. I just bought. They just actually did finally a physical release for it on DVD, and because I had like a bootleg copy of it before, and now because they never put out like a proper season 3 for it, so I just bought it and I love it. I think it's fantastic. Like I think it's a great example of more of a passing the torch because Egon is still in it, so is Janine, and then now it's a whole new team.
Wow.
While they still pay homage to the old series as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you played this came out after Afterlife, and I love this game, the Ghostbusters game that you play like 4v1?
I did, and I just couldn't get into it.
Really?
Yeah. I wanted to love it.
Yeah.
But once again, I'm not big into online games.
That's true.
And then especially it was like trying to like find people to play with and then like trying to be cooperative about it. Like I just wasn't a big PvE kind of player, but then because couldn't you play as the ghost too?
Yeah, so so if you had 5 of you, one of you would end up being the ghost for a while,
right.
And I guess the reason, because I get you, like it's hard for some of the games for like the online for me as well too, because I am such a heavy single player game player, but it's just something about the fact that it's not very like what's the word I'm trying to look for. You don't get worked up playing. Like it's very low level. It's fun. It's very chill. That's where I'm trying to come up. Like you're usually just laughing, fucking around. Where it's like a lot of those games, like Predators, when I go to, that's similar to that, where you have your team, a squad, and then somebody's the predator, but it's like you're on the edge of your seat, like all this stuff. Whereas this one, it's like you're trying, as a ghost, you can really fuck with everybody and get away, and it actually ends up being more fun.
And I love the original multiplayer from the original game, like of like basically like a horde, from the 2010 game. The online was amazing for that.
Yeah,
and
it
so
was.
I was really looking forward to this, and I follow a lot of like the Ghostbusters news people and stuff, and they were talking about it. And I think if I had a lot more friends who played it, I could have had a lot more fun with it. But like I said, I was never a person to just kind of like jump on online games with randos and stuff like that. So I think it found a difficult time for it. But I mean, I'm glad they made something like that. Yeah. But I mean, especially like a PvE, like I loved Helldivers too. I unfortunately fell off of that just because of everything going on with the community and the developers. But I had never thought I'd jump into a game like Helldivers 2, and that game was I had an amazing time
for
with
like
that.
2 months. That was like peak gaming.
Yeah,
this
I just
last
kept
summer
hearing
for
so much
everybody.
about it, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll jump on this. And I was like, everybody is just working together,
Yeah.
and it's just such a common goal. And I had
Mhm.
a few buddies playing that, and it was so much fun to jump
Yeah.
on with them, and then see new stuff coming out, and then yeah, just that PVE element of like really uniting you,
Yeah.
like everybody against this common enemy. It was I loved that game, and hopefully one day I can get back into it once they stop nerfing everything.
It's-
But
It's not that hard to
Uh.
not just nerf everything, instead just work with stuff around it instead. Like
Yeah.
it's as an MMO player for many years, something that there's a big update coming in 917. That's right. Brent is watching as well too, because he's been one of the ones that carried the banner longer than most folks, but even he was like, God, Jesus Christ. But like as somebody who played a lot of MMOs, through the years, like you don't ever want, if you give a player something and you take it away, you can't do that, because it feels like you're taking something
Yeah.
away. You've got to find a way to work around it. Let them keep what they're using or doing. Just change something on the outside, so like it doesn't really, like, your mindset doesn't.
Yeah, especially
on
it didn't feel like, as something that has such a huge story to it, and it creates this enormous world.
Yeah.
It made no sense to start nerfing things. Like, okay, especially with they don't have a lack of writing on anything, so make the enemy stronger. Like,
Right.
make them, do bigger things with them. Then don't take things away from the players
Yeah.
necessarily. Especially when they had such a great story kind of going on. Like, oh no, the bugs mutated. Oh no, the bots got some of our plans, so our weapons aren't as effective. Like, so it's just. Yeah, it's, I don't know. It really lost. I can see why it lost a lot of players. At the same time, I don't think it's a developer's fault entirely either, is how fast games are expected to move in such a huge multiplayer environment.
Yeah, and you're right. And well, again, it doesn't help that everybody's got a live service game. Everybody is trying to clone each other. You seen the Concord stuff that just
Yeah,
come
it was
out?
only
Like,
online 2 weeks.
yeah, like not even, was it 9 days even?
Was it? Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
because
but-
I heard 2 weeks.
Or
so it
maybe,
was
yeah,
just
maybe
like,
they pulled it today or yesterday or whatever it was. But yeah,
and they
like,
started refunding people their money for it and everything.
yeah, like,
yeah.
it's a, I don't know. And that's where I think when you see something like Astrobot come out, and people keep forgetting that if you actually go old school with the way you develop games
Mhm.
and make a strong single player game
Yeah.
and really put some love into it, guess what happens? People are going to spend some money.
Well, yeah,
you know?
and like not to be on Team Nintendo here, because like Nintendo has their fair share of problems that I don't want to get into.
Right,
But the Switch has opened up to so many independent games that I think that really opens up that kind of world to so many people.
Yeah.
And then with the Steam Deck too, not that obviously you can get on like Steam on PC and whatnot,
Yeah.
but just to open up that world to so
Right.
many more people of independent games that they're discovering, oh, I don't need to buy AAA titles all the time.
Exactly.
Or just to show studios, like, hey guys, you don't have to be a AAA title every single time
Mhm.
for people to enjoy or find a huge fan base
Right.
for your game.
Right, Larian doing Baldur's Gate 3 is a really good example too, out of nowhere,
Yeah.
And if you're a AAA studio that does do big stuff, then you're going to be riding on your reputation. Santa Monica coming out with the God of War, like God of War came out and it sucked. Well, fuck your franchise. You might have just tanked it, right? So people have a threshold of expectation as well too. So, but outside of video games, so in nerdoms, like I know you're a big movie guy as well too. Do you get into the MCU? Are you a fan of the MCU?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been a fan of the MCU since, well, gosh, I don't know, since
Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Well, technically, I mean, if you're one of I don't know if you're like me. I still kind of consider the Hulk movie prior to that, like,
yeah, because they're still tying
It
that
was supposed
storyline
to
into
be,
that. But I
yeah.
mean, even in the older days of like the Blades and Thomas Jane's Punisher,
or the old
and-
school Captain America
or
from
the old,
1990.
Oh God, my dad and I loved that
Fucking
movie.
love that
so
movie,
much.
yeah.
Fucking JD Salinger's kid in
Dude,
there.
yup,
No, we loved that movie so
Yup,
much, and I
me
haven't
too.
seen it since I was a kid until one of my favorite YouTube channels was like doing a review on it.
Dude.
And I was like, oh God, he did have plastic ears on the side of his head. Oh my God, this movie's horrible.
Yeah, I don't care. I still love it.
Oh
I
yeah,
still love it.
no, there's still a place in my heart for all those movies, and including that Roger Corman Fantastic Four, which I still
The
has,
90s
yeah.
one, yeah. Hey, that was pretty accurate Ben Grimm back in the
Yeah,
day. Like, let's
they
just be
they
real.
had a lot of fantastic ideas about like not pun unintended,
Yeah, right.
but they had a lot of great ideas, and like obviously those people thought they were making a real movie, so they
Yeah.
really gave it their all, and you can
Right.
tell that they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I it's still there's those movies are still so great, but no, I love the MCU. I mean. I manage my expectations now.
You have to.
Post Endgame, but at the same time, it's I've gotten so much more as I've gotten older into a mindset of like, yeah, this isn't great, but is it for me? Like, was this made for me? Like,
Yeah, it's being getting older, I feel like you really have to manage how cynical you want to be about things as well too. So I just feel like I was a defender. I've been a defender of the phase after Endgame to a degree because of I said everybody wanted to rush into stuff. Well, it took 10 years to build the last one. We got to be patient. Got to be patient.
Mm-hmm.
But then it didn't help that they were coming out with stuff and stuff wasn't that great. Like I actually think some of the TV stuff that they did was really good. I think Miss Marvel is still some of the most brilliant.
No, yeah.
But then like, and I actually like She-Hulk, and there's people out there that don't like She-Hulk.
I love She-Hulk.
I thought She-Hulk was great. Like I don't know what anybody's talking about. Like. The problem is that you got to deal with also fandoms that have now gotten like there's literally two sides to all fandoms that are toxic. I mean, you hear us talk about it once in a while. You can hear Raju out there talking about it all the time. Like there's a serious issue with fandoms and how you do or don't like. And I'm always out there just trying to be like, listen, I get a little bit of this, I get a little bit of that, but where am I enjoying it? Is it fun? Could they have done stuff better? Like you can still enjoy things and critique them as well too.
Yeah,
if you're self-aware, like you've said a few times.
Absolutely.
Nothing's perfect. I know that, but I can still enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you should be able to enjoy things, but still be able to point out their flaws from a critical standpoint without being shit on by everybody at the same time. Yeah. On the other hand, sometimes people just have terrible criticisms about things as well, and they should be able to be called out on them without thinking everything is soy boy or woke and everything like that. I'm just so tired of that. But then
it's exhausting.
There's
man.
So many fandoms I'm a part of that I'm like, when somebody's like, oh, do you like this? And I kind of have to tread lightly. Like I was out at a bar one night and a girl asked me, she's like, oh, do you like Star Wars? And I was like, ooh, where are we gonna go with this?
Right. This could go anyway.
Oh, knowing full well I have Star Wars bed sheets on my bed at home. I'm like, okay, where are we gonna go? Yeah, I like Star Wars, and the fact that I like go up and dress up as like original characters at Star Wars events and stuff like that. I'm like, yes, I like Star Wars. Oh, cool, because great, I love Star Wars. Okay, great. Because how do I make this sound like nowadays. I'm not some sort of toxic fan, or even like Rick and Morty. I love Rick and Morty, but I'm not like a person who doesn't realize that Rick is an asshole and the villain. Right. If Rick didn't exist, everybody would be so much better off.
One of my favorite sayings about Rick and Morty is everybody thinks they're a Rick is really a Jerry.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
God, I love that series. And it's not as good as it was the first 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah.
As Dan Harmon is, I think, giving up more control creatively, and you can kind of tell. But God damn it, if I don't get excited when a new season drops every time, and it might not be as great as the other ones, but I just love those fucking characters. It
still feels like they're still bringing refreshing and like new ideas to the table constantly. And, so that's always nice.
Yeah, and tell me how many other franchises are so good at callbacks seasons after, and all the things, something comes full circle. And I don't know, man. Like when I got into that, it was like second season, I want to say, and I was hooked. Just completely hooked.
Or even like I really got into Steven Universe and the Voltron Legendary Defender. Like I was huge into those, and then people just come in and like have expectations,
right?
And it's like, okay, you could have expectations, but you cannot be mad when those expectations are not met.
That's the problem I think we all have.
Yeah,
I mean sometimes even I fall into the trap.
Yeah,
I got to be careful.
But I mean, I think that's like my one hot take about a lot of these things, especially like that like I don't know if you're familiar with the idea or the concept of shipping. Where it's like if you ship 2 characters, it's like you put them in a relationship together. And I think like too many young fans and even older fans come in to these things and are like, oh my God, they're in love or they're enemies. And then they ship these 2 characters together, putting them in love in their own headspaces. And then when that doesn't happen, then they hate everything, and then they lash out at the fandom and they lash out at the creators. Like that happened to Voltron. Unfortunately, there was a ship in there. There was 2 characters people wanted to be in love with one another, and I have no problems with these things. But then some of these fans got like because it was done by DreamWorks. They got a tour of DreamWorks. They got to see some behind the scenes stuff. Took photos of things that they weren't supposed to take photos, and then held the studio hostage and was like, if you don't make these 2 characters fall in love, then we will release all of these storyboards for your future seasons. And
people
it's like
fucking awful.
People are fucking awful. I'm sorry the 2 people that you put together in a show aren't in love like that.
Jesus
but like
Christ.
So I have such a hard time dealing with that, with just seeing people out there do like with their headcanons and I have no problems with that, but keep it to your goddamn self.
As a Star Wars fan, I had to keep myself in check a lot of times even too, watching these series. And as somebody, and I feel like you're probably going to fall into this category as well too, as somebody who at least for me, like I'm a big conversationalist. I like people. I have lady friends. I like platonic friends. Like it's very frustrating to be somebody who is able to say, I have lady friends that I'm friends with,
Mm-hmm.
will always be friends. I've never thought differently. And to see these like kind of like mediums where people see a guy or guy or girl or guy or girl, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is, and just like all of a sudden want this love thing to happen. Like, yo, it doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah, no.
It does not. There's no
why
reason.
can't people just be friends?
Why can't
and,
you
and
just
why
be
can't we
friends?
focus on the strength and importance
Right.
of friendship?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Like that is especially
Fuck yeah.
especially
Fuck yeah.
how many people are trying to push the positivity of male friendships as well.
Yeah.
Like, and we just don't. I feel like we don't get enough of that without being like, oh, they're in love. It's like, can't they just be friends?
Can't we just
I have
be
no
friends?
problems if they are in love, because that do their own thing.
Yeah,
Absolutely, and I will support that. But like, why can't we just have like positive and strong male friendships and stuff anymore? It seems like, without it having to turn into love, or even male and female friendships. Where like, I love the show The Bear on FX, and I love that show. And so many times I'm like seeing comments on TikTok about the two main characters.
I know.
Putting them in like, I'm like, can't they just be friends and just. There's so many times in a movie where I'm like watching something and I feel like a romance plot is happening, and then it doesn't. I'm like, oh, thank God! Like, can we just have more of this?
Right. And that when we watch The Bear, we're the same way too. Because I always, every episode I look at her, I'm like, are they trying to hint at something, or is it more, or what is it like? Because I feel like I don't know, and maybe that's just because we're used to that now in media, but like I feel like they're either dancing around it, they're trying to get you on one as well too. So. Yeah, okay. So Seven Dungeons has been like one of my a lot of us to our age were brought up in the toxic 50s men, and that's true too. Yeah, it was how, it was kind of almost like handed down as well too, in that sort of sense. Like he's been like my fucking, he's pretty much the closest person I've got that's not my blood relation, that's like a brother to me.
Yeah.
And Chris and I have known each other for what do we say, about 20 years now, and we met playing an online video game. That's how we became friends, you know what I mean? And he may have only tried to kiss me once or twice, but but like that, we always send each other stuff on Instagram constantly about like what best friends do, and if you're not, it's so I think that's a good way of looking at it. Like it's good to also like, listen, I like a love story just like anybody else. If it works, it's natural, things like that. But sometimes it's also good to just focus on, hey, solid friendships and just being good people to each other and working together for
no matter the dynamic of that friendship, whatever gender in that spectrum makes up the dynamic of that friendship. My two best friends are women. Like they're two of my best friends. They're like absolute family to me, and I love them. But like, I could never think of like doing anything of any romance or anything like that, So it's just, so the fact that, like even in society, when you just see like a man and a woman walk down the street and you just assume that they're together or anything like that, it's just like, I'm just so tired of that in media where it's just like, oh, these two characters are a man and a woman. It's like, so they must have like the end game is somehow always love, and I'm just like, can't we just have cool adventures and be best friends?
Right.
Like, I think that's why like Doctor Who, I would say that's a huge like a franchise. I should have said that, damn it.
Can't go back, I'm sorry.
I have a Doctor Who license plate on my car right now.
There you go. Oh shit.
But yeah, like my favorite companion there is Donna, because all they are best friends in space. There's no love subplot. They toy around with it as joking, whatnot, and they're like, ew, no. So I mean, like, I just love that when it's just like best friends on adventures.
That's great. No, I appreciate that perspective as well too, because I feel that. I do feel that, and it sucks because it does go with some of the toxic fandoms out there too, and there's we could talk probably for hours about toxic fandoms. I feel like I do that all the time, and it sucks because I just try to be one of those ones that wants to enjoy it. I do have to be mindful of my own expectations and headcanon, and that's tough too. So
I know I heard you take on the Acolyte with Rohit, so.
Yeah, I got a lot of opinions on it, and that's just it. Like, I love the concept and the idea of it. I just think bottom line, the thing was just awfully written. That's it. I'm a bit like, I love inclusion. I'm huge on diversity. I want all of that. Give me more of that. That's actually one of the things I liked about that. But I just, if the story's not written well, it's not written well. I'm sorry, dude. Like, I'm not gonna reread your book,
right?
And I still haven't finished that show. I can't do it. It's just, I don't know. I just wasn't digging. I think you like it, right?
I enjoyed it for the most part, but I did see the cracks in the writing and stuff, because it was muddled, and like I see, but it's one of those things where I could see the ideas that I felt like they had started off with, and then kind of got overshadowed in the evolution of writing the show.
Yeah.
As it evolved, and it was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. But like I said, as a fan of like Star Wars and stuff like that, I want new things.
I do too.
I want new things, and so there was so many
I do
ideas and
too.
concepts that I really enjoyed about
do
it,
too.
and I'm just like, and then as much as I liked it, I was like, okay, but it's not like something that I was not disappointed it's not getting a season 2.
Right.
I wasn't heartbroken about it.
Mhm.
I will like I think there's a lot to work with there still, and especially because a lot of my favorite shows have terrible first seasons, have horrific,
true.
hard
That's
to
true.
watch first seasons. Star Trek The Next Generation is a fucking slog the first season.
It really is.
Parks and Rec is a terrible show.
The first season's not great as well. Yep.
So horrible, and then it's
Yeah.
and both of those shows are two of my favorite shows of all time.
Yeah.
So I
Great.
feel like some of these things have to go into it
Mhm.
knowing or with contractually obligated to do 2 to 3 seasons just to like know they're gonna end, know what ending they're gonna have,
So you can write it out. Yeah.
so you can write it
Right,
out,
yeah,
like
yeah.
just so then to give everything a chance because. Like I said, yeah. So especially like Netflix. I mean, Disney. Obviously, Disney Plus is still relatively new, but like Netflix is notorious for canceling stuff after the first season. It's like, can't we just flush out ideas here?
Yeah.
Like Jesus.
Now they're trying to do movies, and I feel like for every 2 movies they do, only one's ever good. It's
Yeah.
like half and half of them. So, no, I couldn't do it. I like I said, like, and it's like I kept saying, like, in Seven Dungeons feels the same way. We fit in the middle and all that. Like, I don't like all the incel toxic bullshit. Fuck y'all. I don't want to hear you got nothing to talk about. I don't want to hear nothing out of you. But there's the other side of it's kind of doing the same thing too. Like, is if you just say, hey, I don't like it because it's bad writing, or I'm just not a fan of it, or whatever, then you get called like you were part of that group. It's like, yo, whoa,
Yeah.
time out.
No,
Like,
I know. There's got to be levels here.
yeah, exactly. Like, yo, you're talking to somebody who like I want to love and hug and high five everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? So no, let's not do that. But anyways, I'm gonna move on for that because I will talk about that for a long time. So I've actually known Skid for a long year. Skids.
Oh, yeah.
I've known Matt, Jesus, for a long ass time, and it was by chance because we knew other people from where he grew up with, and I actually originally met him through MySpace, weird as it is too. And he's a pretty big nerd as well too, as well. So have you guys ever, like, as far as nerdom, do you guys have a lot of the same ones? I feel like Ghostbusters might be one you guys might share.
I mean,
right?
I would feel like more like Star Wars.
Is it Star Wars? Okay.
Yeah, Star Wars for sure. Because we used to play a lot of May the 4th shows, and so we'd always break
that's
down to
right.
like lightsaber fights and shit like that. But and I know both of us enjoy Star Wars and maybe some Ghostbusters and stuff. But I think we have very very like separate fandoms as well, because I mean I know he for a long time he was big into WoW, and that's obviously not my realm.
And I think he's still playing that.
Yeah, I would assume. I mean, I would
That's
assume
what he's
so.
doing probably right now.
With
Yeah.
his girlfriend
Yeah.
slash maybe wife. I don't know how to say that, but yeah, no. So I mean, I feel like we always had a lot to talk about in terms of like nerddom stuff, but I don't feel like we have like a ton of crossover.
Okay.
And especially, I was always surprised at how varied his things were, because it's like, oh yeah, I love WoW, and then I'm gonna go do a paintball tournament this weekend too, and I'm like, all right, okay, cool.
Cool, yeah, it's polar opposites. What have you guys ever clashed on any nerddoms and been like, hey, like, for instance, I don't know, like Acolytes, for instance, or something like, hey, I like it, or hey, I don't like it. You guys ever get into like awesome heated discussions or anything?
I don't
like
think
that?
so.
No?
Not unless he's told you differently, which if he has, then he's wrong.
I don't really talk to him.
No, I don't think so. I think, it's one of those things where like we can bring discussion to the table,
Yeah.
and still walk away friends, even if we like highly disagree on something. But I don't really feel like we've had too much that like
Right on.
clashes too much.
Cool.
Because like I said, we don't have a terrible amount of crossover.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's funny because you mentioned Rohit, like me and him clearly like a lot of the same. We like a lot of pretty much everything the same. But we actually, like, even with the Acolyte stuff and some of the Star Wars stuff, we don't fully agree on a lot of stuff. I should say, take that back. We don't agree on an amount of stuff, but we also disagree to agree, because it comes from typically, I feel like, a place of like, somewhere where we feel like there's some weight behind it, I guess, and we're kind of convicted behind it, but it's never been like heated or anything like that either. So, but it's interesting, like I said, with the way the fandoms work these days, and that's everything that's transcended with politics, with news, with I mean everything is it literally is like we keep saying, it's a line in the sand. I'm just trying to exist in that little gray area in there and try to be objective about everything and say no, it's okay to not like something and it's okay to like something but still like, criticize it as well too. So
Yeah.
things can always be better.
I just want to enjoy my things.
Yeah, I just want to enjoy my things.
I just want to enjoy my flashing lights on a screen.
Right. What is it about Booster Gold that makes you such a big fan? I want you to sell me. Give me a 60-second elevator pitch.
Booster Gold is the man that we all want to be, whether or not you are a man or a woman, because I think Booster Gold comes from the future to the past to be useful. I think he comes here to try and be famous, but at the heart of everything, he wants the same thing that we all want, and that's to feel useful with his skills, with his existence, is that he wants to be and feel important and feel like he actually has some sort of stake in affecting people's lives. And I think at the heart of everybody, we all want that moment where we all get to like where our entire life has led up, all of our seemingly useless skills lead up to that one moment where we get to be important. And I think that's what I love about Booster Gold. He's a dickhead with a heart of gold. He's a dick, but he at the end of the day, he'll be in your corner and he'll be there. Like, so I don't know. That's why I love him. He's just such a lovable asshole.
Is that like the number one for you? Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
By far, right?
By far.
You've got a lot of Booster Gold stuff.
I do. I actually just got a new Booster Gold figure in like this weekend. And I just got a new sketch done at a con this past weekend too. Like, cause that's my thing is that I love to go to, when I go to a con, my big souvenir to take home is a sketch of Booster Gold from a commissioned artist from there. Cool. And a lot of the times there's only been one time where I've actually gone to a con specifically with an artist in mind. But every other time I'll browse Artist Alley, check people's prices, but mostly just see their art style. Yeah. And if it's just different or weird, or I'm just really drawn to their art style, that's when I'll get a commission from them. And then that's when I usually get one of three responses. They're like, "Oh, what would you like me to draw for you?" I'm like, "Booster Gold from DC Comics," and they're like, "Who can you like?" I'll look it up on my phone for some references. Like, who is this? It like, yeah, that's it. Or Booster Gold? You want a Booster Gold sketch?
Right, like that guy. Yeah, there you go.
That guy? Or yeah, I love Booster Gold. Let's do it. Like, heck yeah. I think one of my favorites was like her name is Katie Can Draw on Instagram, and she does these tiny little watercolors. And I was like, yeah, I'd love a Booster Gold watercolor. I can pull it up. She goes, oh no, I need no reference for Booster Gold. And she was it's fun to meet like those people who I just didn't know there were other Booster Gold fans. Right. I think my best friend used to work at a comic book shop, and there was an artist who I actually got my very first sketch from ever. I think I got it in 2012, Dave Acosta. And he was doing free sketches for free comic book day at this Detroit comic book shop. And at the end of the day, she was like, "Hey, would you mind doing a sketch for my best friend? He loves Booster Gold." And then her boss goes, "Booster Gold? He likes Booster Gold? What's wrong with this guy?" And it was funny because Dave Acosta goes, "I remember that Booster Gold sketch. That is the only Booster Gold I've ever done."
That's cool.
Then it's one of my favorite sketches because I tell the artist, they're like, "Oh, how would you like this?" I was like, "I love your art style. That's why I chose you. Right. Go wild. Do whatever you want with this." Like, that's why I chose to get a sketch from you. And I think his is still one of my favorites because it's Booster Gold leaning over a table. Skeets is behind him. And then it says like a sign that says Booster Gold autographs, $50 crossed out, $10 crossed out, and then like $5 at the bottom. I was like, this is absolutely the heart of Booster Gold. That's great.
Awesome. I appreciate that. And I'm not overly familiar with the character. I'm familiar with the character, of course. I've just never been a really big DC guy outside of the couple main, right? But, yeah. No, I thought that would be great. I wanted to hear your elevator pitch, so I appreciate that.
No, and I've definitely been between both too, like DC and MCU. Yeah. I've always appreciated so many more of the MCU storylines more. And just the DC characters more. I feel like Marvel Comics tends to push stuff into more modern arcs with their characters, whereas DC tends to just kind of stick around a lot more of the campiness, but without it was still doing serious things,
Sure.
but like keeping more of like the element and like the heart of like a superhero kind of things in it, like not making it too grounded, which Marvel feels like it's kind of still trying to do so
Marvel's
much more
always
of.
trying to ground
Which is
themselves
there's
in
nothing
some
wrong
way.
with that,
Yeah.
but I feel like DC style still kind of keeps some of like the campiness and like
They're self-aware. That's the big
abstract
thing about
concept of a superhero, of a person like running around in tights.
Right.
They're not like losing all of that still.
Right.
Like so,
Yeah, that's
I've always enjoyed that about DC, and I feel like
Yeah.
more. I've always enjoyed. I'm still a fan of Marvel, but most of my favorite comic book characters are more DC.
Okay. I know. I love that perspective. Do you still? I mean, does Booster Gold have comics that come out at all?
I
Or
don't think so right now. I
Okay.
did just pick up like a trade paperback.
Okay.
That was like a few issues. Yeah, I don't think he has his own series right now. I could be entirely wrong. There's so much stuff that I'm into that I like.
it's.
I have to.
I get it.
It's hard to
I
keep
know.
track of it.
I know. I actually just started picking up the first X-Men monthly. That I mean, because now that Marvel has them back, they're starting to put them out again. So, but I pretty much only get Spawn when I go to Koi's. That's it. That's my only thing that I mostly get, and Berserk, I think. But it's wild. And I think, and again, after comics having such a rough time for so long, and then the MCU comes out, and all of a sudden everybody's like, oh shit. And now comics are huge again, which is so good to see. 'Cause it's good
Yeah.
for all
Oh,
of us,
yeah.
so.
Absolutely. And
but-
now there's a Booster Gold series coming out
See-
in the
see?
in the new
There you
DCU.
go.
So I'm like excited, but
Cool.
like I'm also skeptical.
I think anyway, a DC
so-
movie comes out. Usually, I'm very
But then again, I mean, so one of my favorite actors and comedians, Kumail Nanjiani, was cast as Booster Gold. So I'm curious to see where James Gunn takes that, because obviously he's not like he doesn't fit necessarily the traditional look of Booster Gold. So I'm curious to see where I trust James Gunn and what his ideas.
yeah.
To see
We'll
where he
see what
goes
James
with
Gunn's
that.
gonna do.
Because I mean, when I heard a Peacemaker series was coming out, I was like, that guy sucks. Like that guy who I hated for the entire Suicide Squad movie, which I loved. I hate that dude. They're making a series about him, and I fucking loved that
Yeah,
show.
and-
That show was amazing.
It's fucking amazing, right? Okay. Well, we've mentioned games a few times, I know too. And I know you're kind of an old school gamer as well too. And I'm a big fan. JRPGs and RPGs are my favorite. Period. There's nothing else that compares to that single player RPG, especially the old school style from the Super Nintendo era, which is the best era for me of Super Nintendo games. You're a Chrono guy, I think, right?
Yeah.
Is that? Would you? Where do you rank that in like your? I mean, if we had to see, let's even say like the old school era, like before PS1 even, like is that your favorite of?
No, Final Fantasy VII. I know that's such a cop out answer, but that game holds such a huge place of my heart.
Sure.
Just I remember coming home from youth group or something one day, and that's when like hung out with a few of the older kids from youth group, and I was hanging out at my buddy Mark's house, and they're sitting around, like there's a few of these guys that live there, and like they're sitting around passing around the controller playing. I'm like, what is this game? They're like, oh, it's Final Fantasy VII, and I was just like sucked into it. I mean, obviously it's such a weird game to get sucked into because it's a huge game, but like I was just blown away by it, by like what little they were doing. Of just like I think they were at like the Golden Saucer or something, and I was just like fascinated by what was going on. And I was like, what's this? And so obviously then like to play it years later, a few years after that on my own, and it blew up my world. Then Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger, those games then I think came shortly after that as I just dove into more of like the Squaresoft and the Square Enix catalog.
Oh, you said it though, the beautiful words. Squaresoft. Did I hear Squaresoft? Oh God, music to these ears.
That Squaresoft and Square Enix catalog, and especially with like Final Fantasy 8, 9. I was never a huge fan of 10.
We're rarities. I don't really like 10.
Don't really like 10, so I own 10 and 10.2 on multiple platforms.
Yeah.
I own like HD remasters, and I just like try and get into them. Like I still don't like these.
I've tried a couple times to do 10 again, but I still can't do it.
And I've been Chrono Cross and Chrono Trigger. Yeah, those those games are just so
Trigger's pure
beautiful.
Gold. Yeah, that era I actually seen, and the reason I asked, I was actually trying to bait you a little bit, but I'll be honest. Chrono Trigger, like I played the fuck out of that. So there's 13 or 14 different endings in that, and I think I've seen personally. I was able to get like 6 or 7, let's say half of them. Maybe that's even just a little bit too high. It's been so long. But I actually think it's kind of overrated. Like, I actually like the game. I do like the game. I don't want to get anybody to think that I hate the game, but it's actually kind of short once you get through first playthrough and you're trying to do all the other endings. And I think that's kind of the point as well too, to try and power up and do some of the stuff, because you can get to Lavos right away in the beginning in your second playthrough, but you get smoked. But there's actually a character in there that I really think is really awesome, and I've always been obsessed with in his background story, which is Magus, because you think early on you're fighting this crazy evil bad guy, and then come to find out, once you go through a couple times through time, you realize he was sucked out of time, and he was from this crazy magical floating city, and he's trying to actually kind of combat, I think, Lavos, whatever it is. But I digress. That era of video games, of JRPGs, is just still special. Have you played Remake, Rebirth?
Remake's the first one, right?
Yeah,
I played Remake.
Okay,
loved it.
Yep.
I have not played Rebirth yet. I've been trying to get through the intermission with Yuffie.
Oh, that's actually pretty fun.
I'm like,
is it tough?
It's so tough. I'm at like Raphael or Ralph or whatever that guy's name
like
is.
4 hours.
Yeah, but like I'm like this one boss, and he had like 5 phases, and I was like, I felt like I was almost done, and I died. I was like, I'm gonna put this down for a little while. I'm just gonna step away from this for a little bit and cool off.
Right. It's worth doing. I think that will help. I think unlock something maybe in Rebirth.
Yeah,
I do think. I just figured out after 55 hours of playing Rebirth that I forgot to get my bonuses for playing the demo. So all of a sudden I had 2 extra summons I didn't know I could have been using for 50 some hours. But I will tell you, Rebirth, because I just got out of the Golden Saucer, that's why you said that, and there's great mini games in that as well too. They're fun and awesome. A lot of people complain about the mini games in this. I actually enjoy them. I do understand why people feel like they're pigeonholed to moving the story further with some of the mini games. It can be frustrating, so I get that. But I'm loving Rebirth. I'm finally cresting, I think, nearly 60 hours on it. I don't know, man. Like, I'm one of those ones that's hard at the gatekeeping to evolve from older, because I love turn-based. That'll always be my baby. I love like Octopath Traveler on Switch and stuff like that. But they did a great job modernizing this. That still kind of gives you a slowdown in battle.
Yeah.
But because of the characters and the world, that type of battle system actually fits really well and aesthetically looks good.
I would say so. Yeah, especially because like the remake has been in talks for like a decade or more. Like I still remember,
we
like
wanted
the first,
it from the PS3 tech demo.
Yes, yeah, I still remember like that teaser or little like trailer that they did, just that little like 10-15 second clip, and I was just like losing my mind. And so when remake finally came out, and I was like, oh, I didn't like, and then like I. Even in like the MySpace like live journal days, I was like hounding the Final Fantasy Advent Children website of like constantly just like, what is it? When are we getting this? Like just I remember being obsessed with that.
Yep. I was obsessed with Advent Children that came out. We bootlegged that from Japan before it came to American shores, man. I've never seen that. I have a hard time watching, and maybe you don't know this, but talk about this a lot. I can't watch my anime dubbed. I cannot do it. It's very tough for me. It doesn't sound good to me. I get why some people will say they watch both, because I can clean and listen to it. I'm like, okay, that makes sense to me. But I have never seen Advent Children in dubbed at all. It's always been subbed for me, and I just like I play remake and rebirth and dubbed as well too, or not sub. Excuse me, good God, in Japanese, just because I'm so just ingrained with me now at this point.
Yeah, so. I think that. I mean, I understand the sub versus dub debate, but I think it's such a moot point at this point. Just let people who enjoy however they enjoy. But I do think that there are more points to sub winning that debate only because of like how it's intended, like Squid Game. Like I think that is a better as sub, because you're actually getting the real emotions and how it's intended,
the word right there, emotion
of the actors. But I think you can also get that from dub when it comes to anime as well. Like I think that they're like even like what the original creator of Cowboy Bebop says is the dub is superior, and I think that it's just two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Like it's all about preference, because I totally get it. Whereas like I love My Hero Academia, but like when my friends were all into it, I was like, okay. And then like I think I was working on cosplay one time and it had like 2 seasons out on Hulu. I was like, I'll just throw on the dub and I'll watch this. And I was like listening to it, and I was like, but I got so into it. It was so much better than I expected it to be. So I definitely do prefer dub a lot of the time, just because I have such a hard time focusing on things just to try and sit down, especially when stuff is like hyped up for me by other friends, and I want to sit and focus on it.
That's true.
So I can really enjoy it.
That's a great point.
And sometimes I just have such a hard time with subtitles, and even though like I love so many subtitled movies. Like my pre-order for Godzilla -1 just got shipped. I'm so excited.
Mine too.
Oh,
Yep,
did you order the one from the Godzilla website?
Fuck yeah, I did. Fucking A right, I did. Should be here, what, next week?
Yep.
Or soon? Yeah.
Yeah, it just shipped on like Saturday or something.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah. Fucking A. Yeah.
I was like, as soon as I saw the movie in theaters, I was like, I'm going to go back and see that again, and then I'm going to order it as soon as it's available.
And I waited too, because I know there was other versions you get. You can get the full Japanese version, but this was the American version of the Japanese version to get also the monochrome tune, which was super important to have. So, which is a good spot actually for the transition once again. So you happen to be one of the few people that once in a while I catch at a Fathom event for Godzilla as well too. I know there's a few of us around here. I go with my buddy Darren. I always say I'm a pretty big fan, but he's like a next level kind of super fan. So where do you rank yourself? Are you like a super fan, like a big fan? Like where, like for you, where does it lay?
I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle because like I always have such a hard time with like names of things.
Sure.
Like I can probably name a lot of the kaiju, but I'm like, oh, huh?
Okay.
Or like characters or like the lore necessarily of everything. Like, so I mean, I love kaiju everything and Godzilla movies and like big like mech animes, robots. Love all of it because that was so much of what I was raised on. Because my dad, growing up in Hawaii, they got a lot of stuff from Japan.
Oh, sure.
And so like he loved Godzilla. So like when I was growing up, it was Godzilla this, Godzilla that, like everything Godzilla. Cool. So yeah, I mean,
I know I saw you rocking it today too. Yeah, I was like, yeah, perfect question.
Yeah, so. No, I mean, and like everything like little Godzilla stuff that I can get like on like for my shelves and stuff like that. Yeah. I just love kaiju stuff. I find it so fascinating.
It is. It really is. I wish. And I actually didn't mind the do you like Pacific Rim? The first one yes. I know is really, really great. Yeah. I actually don't mind the second one just because I'm still seeing big robots, and now we're seeing robots battle each other, blah, blah, blah. But I wish that Del Toro would come back and do one, because I feel like there's just, when Guillermo del Toro's got his hands in something, everything is, we go back to that magic for me.
Yes.
It's just more magical when he's got his hands in something, so.
I'll say probably something that's pretty controversial here is that I think Guillermo del Toro is the person we always wanted Kevin Smith to be. Yeah. I'm not a big Kevin Smith guy anymore.
That's fair.
And I think Guillermo del Toro still holds on to so much of that excitement of nerdy things, because I know he loves kaiju and like horror and all that stuff. But I think he can also, and like this is no hate to Kevin Smith, because I don't have any hate in my heart for the man, but I just don't like him anymore, is that he's not unwilling to walk away from studio interference. Like if they're not letting him do his vision, he's like, no, good, bye, like do whatever you want with this then. So I think Guillermo del Toro, just to me, still has that kind of conviction of wanting what he wants, his vision, and then that's the nerdy shit that we all want. That's
the raw shit. That's an interesting conversation that I would love, like, and I'm going to tell you right now, and I know it's a little early to it, but I definitely, as doing this content, want folks to be able to come back. You know, the first time it's a lot of questions, but there's definitely, that would be a good one if you ever come back around here. We'll get into a conversation that, because I love Kevin Smith too.
Yeah.
But it's there's something, again, that magic has been lost a little bit and tarnished over time with him. Yeah. It's no hate. It's no hate. But there's definitely something.
I don't have the time or the energy for the hate anymore. So
right. Ironically, he said the same thing on a podcast about talking about movies. He likes to focus on all the stuff that he likes and things like that as well too.
Yeah,
so
I think there's one of my favorite comedians is Patton Oswalt, and I think I love him so much. Like, when everything was coming out about like a lot about the Me Too movement and things like that, and I was like, I swear to God, if something comes out about Patton Oswalt,
I know.
I'm just gonna cut off everything, and then I'm just gonna go hide for the rest of my life, because I was just like, please, so many people that I've really admired are just scumbags.
Yeah,
please,
you find out it's scumbags.
Please no. And so I think there was a bit that he does, and he was just like, he's like, I'm getting so old, I don't hate any music anymore. He's just like, there's things that I don't like, and there's things that I don't listen to, but I just don't hate anything anymore.
Oh God!
Like as a teenager, I'd be like, no, fuck you, man. I hate this. They're trash. This is bad. But as an adult, I'm just like, okay, Like,
Fair enough.
I like what I like. I don't hate it. I don't have the time or the energy to put into hating things anymore.
I got to be careful then. Music sometimes one of those like it's country though. That's just mine. I just can't do it.
See, and I'm being like pretty knowledgeable on the roots of country and outlaw and like how the original is like anti-government, and then I feel like we're kind of coming back around to some of that.
I've kind of I think that would be an interesting conversation too, because I kind of feel like I've been told that, and like I guess I should say I don't like '90s forward pop country. That's my problem. Yeah, she's out there doing okay, she's doing okay. I like old school, like I don't know, it's not old school, but like the Rebel, like Highwaymen, you know, like that sort of stuff, Waylon Jennings, things in that nature, like that kind of older country. But that's a tough genre for me, even as it continues to change, evolve, and get better, I guess. For me to me,
and I mean, like '90s pop country, like Shania Twain. That shit still rocks my socks off.
It does. It does.
Like, I think there's a meme that says, like, when Shania Twain says, "Let's go, girls," I could kick the door off its hinges. I was like, absolutely.
Or Garth Brooks, yeah.
Or even, with a little boot scoot and boogie. Like,
it's hard not to, I know.
A little achy breaky heart. Like, it's still, but I like, and like, hopefully, like, another controversial take, I suppose, is that, like, 9/11 ruined country music. Like, we can come back and talk about that, because I could talk about that for hours too.
let's keep a list of this shit, because I think we got some good conversations on stock as well too. Because I would actually like to talk about that as well too. Yes, never forget. You're right. Thank you. Thanks, Britt. Man, there was something else I was going to say about that too. Oh, there's another band that I actually really liked outside the Garth and like Shania Twain that I always called them rockabillys, was Sawyer Brown.
Oh yeah.
I always thought they were really talented, and I feel like those guys would be the fun party guys too.
Yeah.
As well too. They're always singing fun stuff. So. But so we've danced around something already a little bit, and it's funny because, and I'll get to the other part that was, we were back and forth late last night as well too. You're a Community guy.
I was just watching Community earlier today,
dude, and like I'm like maybe you saw it, but I rewatched that fucking series. Like I try. There's a handful of things, I'll say about 8 to 10 things that I try to rewatch yearly.
Mm-hmm.
Community is one of those, and Community just sometimes ends up being something that I just default to anyways.
Oh yeah.
I can, and that's probably why I love Rick and Morty, because when I said Rick and Morty is one of those few things that come back and do call outs in full circles, it's all Dan Harmon. Fucking Community is the same way, and that's why it's written so good. You get tied into the characters themselves and stuff like that as well too. So
yeah, they're real fully actualized, like fleshed out people.
It's incredible, the storytelling, and if you've not watched Community, you don't know. You don't realize until you watch it, and then it might, because that's another one too. I feel parts of the first season's a tough watch, and then all of a sudden it starts finding its wings, and you're like, oh shit, and you're completely invested the entire time. The bits, the jokes, and it's a joke I'll hear 1,000 times probably, and I will still laugh at it every time. So the question I have for you is, when are we getting the fucking movie?
Whenever Donald Glover has the time.
Well, so apparently he's on board.
Yeah, apparently. No, they're all because I saw an interview with him that he was like, it's being written, because it was like a one of those GQ interviews, and it was like, which I love these GQ interviews where it's like actors talk about like all their roles. Yeah. And he was talking, I think he was doing an interview with GQ or somebody, and they were like, Troy, and it's like, it's coming. I'm like, we're all on board. Okay. Like, it's being written. So I know that they're all on board for it, especially after, I don't know if you watched that live stream that they did
during the pandemic.
During the pandemic, yeah,
absolutely.
So I think you have so many people like that loved creating a show like that. That it's going to happen. I mean, I feel like I could have sworn he said it's already been greenlit. It's just these people are all stars doing their own things now, but.
And a handful of them have been in the MCU because of the brothers, right?
Yeah.
Yep, because of the brothers. And then there's a few, you'll get a few nods in Rick and Morty as well too. But man, for the life of me, like, I'm never the kind of guy who gravitates towards a cool character. But we all want to be Winger. There's a little bit of Winger in all of us.
Yeah.
I think there is. I really do. Like, that's one of the few cool characters. I'm like, God, when Winger gets a win, I'm like, fuck yeah, it's a win for all of us. Great. But yeah, man, I just fucking absolutely love that show. And last night was so random that you posted the intro to fucking Hackers, which is another thing that I'm so fucking obsessed with. And the only other person I can think of that I've talked about Hackers this passionately about with in recent memory was Ricky Brandt.
Of course.
Of course, Ricky
Yes,
Brandt,
of course,
right? Of
Ricky
course,
Brandt.
Ricky Brandt.
Of course,
Ricky
Ricky
Brandt,
Brandt.
of course. But man, what a fucking movie, and just an oddity of something to love. It's completely like not what hacking's like at all.
No, but I feel like I was reading an interview or something later where like like I want to say it was a book called The Hacker Ethic that I was reading. This came out like a long time ago, but they were talking about the movie Hackers and how much it did for the hacking community, kind of because they got so much right.
Yeah.
But then like how the like, you know, obviously when they're going through like the main computer and stuff like that, that obviously
There's no first person view.
there's no first person view
Right,
and
right,
any of that
right.
stuff. But yeah, like a lot of the stuff they do in that movie are like hacking methods where like the one where what is it? Oh God!
Like the garbage files and shit.
The garbage files, but also when they were just digging through the actual like trash. I think Serial's doing that. They're looking for passwords and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's all very much like hacker stuff. Or when they were just going through the office and like getting people's passwords and getting stuff like that. Like that's all like very much like hacker ethics of doing that kind of stuff, like hacker methods.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot to that movie, but yeah, it's. Yeah.
Hack the planet.
Yeah. Hack the planet.
Hack the planet, man.
Acid burn.
Yep. Crash override. Serial. Phantom Freak. Lord Nikon.
Lord Nikon. That's what I was thinking of because he's got the photographic memory.
Yeah, it's a curse.
Yeah.
Yo, Lisa.
I think it's such a slice of the time. Just the fashion, the technology. When they're looking at Acid Burn's her fucking laptop, and they're like, oh, 56K. And I was like, oh my God.
refresh rate,
Oh my
God,
this is so outdated. Like, oh Jesus, I think like a TI-84 calculator is better than some of these laptops that they got going on. Like,
Right,
oh my
right.
God.
It's fucking great. Yeah, in 8 Dungeons, I'm telling you, you got to watch Community, man. I'm telling, and I would also say, along with that, watch Community, then watch Rick and Morty. You understand why a lot of Community people love Rick and Morty. I feel like too. So, who's Uncle Punchy?
I believe that's the Hawaiian Punch mascot.
Can you confirm or deny whether or not you're related to that man?
Not confirm nor deny.
I just wanted to double check.
Because Hawaiian Punch gives me a tummy ache.
I've heard. Make it sick, huh?
Yeah, it makes me real sick. I got a real soft tummy when it comes to that acidic stuff.
I think it's the acidity, not the sugar or anything.
I think it might be both,
Might be
but
both.
like, because like I said, I don't drink a lot of pop or anything like that. But yeah, Uncle Punchy is no good for me.
That's what I've heard. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So I want to talk a little bit about cosplay here, and we kind of talked briefly about that. You've mentioned it as well too. For you, when did that begin?
Well, I've always enjoyed Halloween.
Yeah.
Like Halloween has always been my favorite holiday for dressing up and everything like that. So that's always been a real like a form of self-expression.
Sure.
Of whether it was like one year when I was as a kid, I was a Killer Tomato because when that was the cartoon
cool.
show that was out,
That
like
was
they
a
had
great
made
cartoon.
cartoons for that.
Yeah.
Or one year, for no reason, I'd never seen the Phantom of the Opera. I just wanted to be the Phantom of the
Right.
Opera. So I think that's Halloween itself has always been a big form of self-expression. But I want to say it was 2012. My buddy Kevin was like, hey man, like we were living in Saginaw, and he was like, hey man, Comic-Con, Motor City Comic-Con is like this weekend. Do you want to go? It's like, this is like 2 days before. I was like, yeah, should we just like dress up as something? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So yeah, I put together my first like real cosplay ever, which was Tony Chu from the comic book Chu from Image Comics, and nobody knew what it was, and that was fine. Like it's not always about the recognition. It's about
right.
doing it's about being
You're
a
right.
character that I love and bringing that to life and getting to dress like that. And he went as Dr. McNinja, which is an old webcomic that we were super into at the time, which is he's a doctor and a ninja. That's it. Like, and people were like
Not clever.
asking him for photos. I was like, oh, cool. Like, that's really
Damn.
neat. And one person at that con asked me for a photo. One person. It's like, oh my God, are you Tony Chu? I was like, I am. Asked me for a photo. Like 6 to 8 months later, I get a text from a buddy. Hey, you're in the new issue of Chu. And I was like, ha ha ha. Is there a pineapple in there or something? What do you like? Ha 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 ha. Okay, great. And he's like, no, for real. And that person had sent in my photo to the editor and they posted it in the comic.
Holy shit.
It was like issue number like 27 or 28. I have a few copies of it, but yeah,
That-
it was actually it said unidentified dreamboat spotted at Motor City Comic Con, and I was like, that is amazing. The next year I ran into that at Motor City Comic Con. I happened to run into that person, and I was like, you took a photo of me last year as Tony Chu, and you sent it in. Like, I was just like, I just want to say thank you so much for that, and it was such a cool moment.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's elevation.
Yeah, and I got to meet and I don't really go to meet like celebrities much anymore unless they're kind of really close to my heart for some reason,
Sure.
to a property that I love. But we met. Oh God, he's the sheriff from Eureka. He hasn't really done much, unfortunately, lately. Colin Ferguson. Yeah, Colin Ferguson. Couldn't have been a nicer guy in the world too. Like, I love like when I get to meet the celebrities like that, and they're just real down to earth.
Yep.
Like real people, and I realized that they're real people too. So it was just like, he just talked to us. Oh, where are you guys from? Saginaw. Ooh, is that nice? No. My wife loves to go to places that like are mentioned in songs. And I think there's a Simon and Garfunkel song that mentions Saginaw. Should we go there?
Nah.
Probably not.
You're good.
Not a lot going on.
No, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm probably the one that a lot of people get mad about, because I love going to cons and meeting celebrities. I did that for a while, going to Novi, and some of the best I met. I mean, two of the ones that come to mind that were so kind and so friendly and just absolutely so nice was Roddy Piper 3 months before he passed, and Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
So
I'm surprised how short Ron Perlman is.
Me too.
Like, because I think we were at that con as well. Me and my friends, we were standing around someplace, and Ron Perlman came out of a door.
Yeah.
And we looked, and was like,
What the fuck?
what the fuck? Because in any role he's in, he just seems larger than life.
Yeah,
He seems
yeah,
huge.
yeah.
Like, and I don't know if it's like the apple box they got him standing on or what, but like even as Hellboy, or maybe he's just taller than everybody else, but he just seems enormous. Like,
Yeah. You're right. He was so fucking nice. It was right after they announced Dave Harbour's Hellboy, and
Really? Wow.
and I looked at him. I said, "I just want you to know, you're always going to be my Hellboy."
Yeah.
And he was like, "I really appreciate that, man." And the photo I got, it's on Facebook. He puts his arm right around me and just had some great words and just chatted for a hot minute. And I know he's busy, I get it, but
I follow him on
just so
Instagram
kind.
too.
Yeah.
And
He's gnarly.
He's gnarly on there, and he just seems like, but he seems like a real down to earth guy.
He don't give a fuck. He's a very down to earth guy. You're right. I love that.
Yeah, and I've met more than a handful of celebrities. I got to meet Ernie Hudson, my favorite Ghostbuster, and he was the nicest dude in the world.
He's a lot of times at Novi too.
Yeah, he wrote on my head because I got a professional photo with him, and then I got it. They printed it off, and I got it signed by him later. And he was like, "Russell, keep on busting." I was like, "You're the man.
That's perfect.
You're my favorite Ghostbuster for a reason, man." And then I've met like oh gosh, Judith Hogue, the original April O'Neil.
Oh,
and I was dressed up as Casey Jones, and she was so nice. She was like, I was like kind of walking around like nervous to meet her, because she was probably my first crush ever.
Right.
And I'm dressed up as Casey Jones, and I go up there, and she's like, "I've been eyeing you. You've been walking around here. I was waiting for when you were going to come over." I was like, "Oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you." And she just started telling me all these stories about Elias Koteas, the actor played Casey Jones, and then like just starts telling me all these stories from on set, and I was just like, "This is so cool."
That's cool.
And I've met like Jeremy Shada, who was in Voltron Legendary Defender. He's also the voice of Finn from Adventure Time.
Oh shit!
He was super cool. Like, he let us pick him up for a photo, and
that's great. And that's when you're paying for those, like the professional ones, right?
Yeah, that one was a professional photo. We got to meet him for an autograph beforehand, and then we got to have a professional photo taken with him. And I feel like I met like oh gosh, what's his name from Clerks? And
Jay?
Dante.
Oh, Dante. Oh, Brian O'Halloran.
Brian O'Halloran. Yeah, I was gonna say Hicks, and I was like, no, that's wrong. Yeah, Brian O'Halloran. He was incredibly nice.
I feel like that entire cast, because they do a lot of cons together.
Yeah. Yep.
They're always really, really nice.
And that one was at like a con that doesn't exist anymore, Midwest Media Expo, I think it was, in like 2012. And then a couple of years ago, I met Randall as well.
Nice.
Randall and Dante together,
right? And
got pictures with them and had them sign my.
He stepped away for a while.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I had them sign my 10th anniversary edition of Clerks, and they were both very nice and
very cool. Very cool. There's, as you speak on that, this is so random when I say this. So Scott Shafeo, the Chuli's Gum guy, is a friend on Facebook.
Oh, really?
So is Marilyn Gigliali. I want to say that right. She's Dante's girlfriend, the first girlfriend.
Right. Yep.
In there, and then I had just gotten to be friends with Lisa on Facebook before she unfortunately passed away as well too. And the guy that plays Rick Darris, he's friends on Facebook too. Random shit, right?
Yeah.
Random ass shit. But that's because I was one of those movies I was obsessed with growing up. So,
Oh yeah,
but
yep.
you know, they don't sound like they got a huge following or anything, or people
Right.
probably know who they are. But it's cool that they'll just like be friends with random people on Facebook and then tell you happy birthday. And I'm back and forth with Scott a couple times. It's really random. So, what has been the most difficult cos that you've done?
Probably the Voltron armor, Hunk from Voltron with the full armor. That wasn't like difficult necessarily to make, but wearing it is a chore because like you're just it's hard to move in, and by the time you're done, it's like you have a bodysuit on, and then like you take off all that armor, and that armor does not breathe. It is all just capturing sweat underneath, and so by the time you take it off, it is you never want to wear it again. And it's probably the reason why I haven't done big armor cosplays in a long time, just because it can be so cumbersome. I mean, it's just it's a lot, but I mean, I think I'm trying to get back into that now more, doing more of the armor, but just kind of waiting for the character to be inspired by to do some of that. But yeah, and then I think I get some of like the more silly cosplays, like with these giant heads and seeing the reception that they get. So it's hard not to just keep doing that.
The Sonic gets a lot of attention.
That's I couldn't believe the Sonic went viral for a while. Like that was getting passed around on like Reddit and stuff like that. And I was like, holy shit! All because one guy like saw me, posted it in some Sonic meme group, and then it just blew up. Like the next day, I was getting like notifications on Facebook and like people tagging me and like all these random messages. I was like, what the hell's happening here? And then I was like, oh no, should I say this is me? Like, what should I do about this? How do I prove it's me? And because I just wanted to be thankful. I'm just thankful for all positive, negative, whatever. I don't care. But like, I was just posted in the comments. I was like a picture of the head because we were still at the con. I was like, hey guys, this is me. Just wanted to say thank you. And then also these messages start flooding in. I was like, and none of my friends knew I was going to be doing that cosplay. I kept that as a secret from them, just because I was like, it was very last minute, so I wasn't sure if I was going to actually finish it or if it was going to make it to the con. So I kept it as a secret. So they were all like, Jesus Christ,
that's fucking wild.
So yeah, it was. Yeah, it's hard to stay away from those cosplays just because of how much attention that they get.
Right.
And it's just so much fun. Like people just like I just took the Ninja Turtle popsicle to a con this weekend, and it's just so much fun. People like freaking out about it.
Sure.
It's just or it's hearing like all these whispers or laughs and stuff like that around people. It's that's so much fun to do.
Cool experience. Yeah. What's your favorite you've done? Do you have one?
Probably one of my favorites is from the movie Turbo Kid. It was like an independent film.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah. Highly recommend. It came out maybe like 7-8 years ago. It's kind of like it's touted as like Mad Max on BMX bikes.
Oh shit!
It's a post-apocalyptic movie. If you like synth scores, it's very 80s synth score by a group called Lamatos.
Oh fuck!
And yeah, it's one of my favorite movies probably of all time.
Jesus.
And it's Turbo Kid. Highly recommend.
Okay, noted.
And my friend Caitlin and I did like because it's about this kid in the post-apocalypse, and like he hears about this person called like Turbo Man or something like that, and he finds that person was real, and he finds their armor and then puts it on, and then like meets this robot girl and everything. So it's like it's a really fun movie.
Goddamn, okay.
My friend Caitlin and I dressed up as that's probably one of my favorites, but nobody got because obviously a ton of people have not seen the movie.
Right.
It's one of my favorite movies. That's probably one of my favorite cosplays because we had like a BMX bike with us too that we took around and. Yeah, we had a blast with that one. It's hard not to say that like the popsicles, like Sonic, isn't my favorite.
Yeah.
Just because of how much attention it gets.
That's wild, man.
And I love dressing up already, and I already love making these things, but it makes me so happy to make people happy with these cosplays. Like, and I try and give out little treats or something like that. Like I gave out like Sonic the Hedgehog fruit snacks with that cosplay, and people are just like, "Oh my god!" Like it's something so small and so ridiculous. But it just makes people's day to do that stuff. Like with Michelangelo, I gave out these little gummy pizzas just to people who were like wanted my picture, thought it was cool. Especially I love doing it for artists in Artist Alley who think stuff is cool because they can't get out all the time to get food and stuff like that. So it's just like, no, you guys are the heroes here. Here's some candy. Here's some stuff.
Man,
like
that little bit extra you're doing.
Yeah, that little bit of extra. It just makes people's day so much. Or when I do Pizza Planet is probably one of my favorites. It's so simple, but like.
Everybody loves seeing that.
Or and I love the fact that like people think it's a real uniform or something like that. Like so, like there's definitely been cons where I've gone to buy a badge or something like, oh no, you can just walk right in. I was like, oh no, I'm here for the con. Like this isn't pizza. Like this is the costume.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, there was one time when a girl like confronted me about eating the pizza, because I had like the first time I ever wore it, it was very much more or less of what it is now. Without the jacket, it was just like a Pizza Planet shirt, a hat like this that I put like a Pizza Planet patch on, and I made a Pizza Planet box and had real pizza in it. Was carrying it around a con, and I told my friend, I was like, "Hey, can you just take a picture of me eating this pizza real quick?" And so I'm standing there eating this pizza. No, that wasn't even it. She was waiting for her photographer for her photo shoot, and I was like, "I'm hungry. I'll eat some of this pizza." So I'm standing there eating this pizza. And I can hear these two girls behind me talking. And the one girl's like, "No, I'm going to say something. This is bullshit. No, what is he doing?" No, I'm like, "What's happening right now?" And I was like, "No, I'm going to say something right now. He shouldn't be eating that." And this girl comes up to me and she goes, "I just wanted to say that I think it's ridiculous and unprofessional that you're eating this." And then she like looked at me and I'm like smiling because I'm like, "Oh no,
She thinks you're really delivery.
she thinks I'm really a delivery person." I was like, "I've never been this right in any situation before. I'm 100% not in the wrong here." And she's just like, "Oh my God, it's a costume. I'm so sorry." And then her friend goes, "Can you just keep eating that pizza? I just want to grab a picture." I was like, "Yeah, of course." No.
Switch gears. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, that's probably one of my favorites about Pizza Planet. Is just that people think it's real.
That's cool. And you guys, now you assembled. I don't know if it's you that assembled, but the recent one I'm seeing all over Facebook right now is you got some friends, or I don't know, like, again, I don't.
Yeah, these are all my friends. Yeah, it was our friend Courtney's idea to like kind of do a more casual kind of thing for this past Sunday, and she was like, "Oh, we could wear them on like Friday night. We can wear them on Sunday. I think it'd be really fun to do the dodgeball uniform."
Yeah.
And I was like, "That'd be and everybody was on board, but like a lot of the ones that they like sell online, they didn't have in like larger sizes, or like they're not real great quality." So yeah, so that was a ton of fun. So I took, it's one of those ones that's kind of what's called like a closet cosplay, where you're taking like found things and then like putting your own spin on them and doing things to them. So yeah, I had the idea so that we could actually have like matching shorts and shirts to buy everything in white and then dye it all yellow.
Oh, okay.
So there was a little bit more into that cosplay than just buying them. So yeah, we bought the shorts and the shirts online, and then I dyed them all in my washing machine, and then I took my vinyl cutter that I used to do all the t-shirts and stuff like that, and I did the Average Joes on there. Cool. And then I put like a little ADAA logo on the shorts too, because it's all about the small details.
It is.
Then we got all of our Instagram handles on the backs of the shirts too.
Fucking cool, man.
Yeah, it was a huge hit at the con. It was so funny.
Bet.
A girl asked me to throw a wrench at her because I was actually carrying around a fake wrench that I picked up at Spirit Halloween a long time ago. I was like, "We got to have the wrench. The wrench has to come with us."
Right.
And the girl was like, "Would you throw the wrench at me?" And I was like, "Guys, we have liability waivers with these. Like, what do we do here?" And she's like, "I just always wanted to know." So I was like, "Okay, here." Yeah. Like, all right.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Because as much as I love cons, I forget that like awkward people exist at those places. Mm-hmm. They can be real awkward.
Yeah.
As much as awkward as I can be sometimes, I'm like, "Oh, I feel I feel like I'm on top of the ball right now."
That's awesome. Like I said, I've been seeing the pictures of it, and you guys literally look like a team of Average Joes. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, because I had the idea to do the trading cards when we were in the hotel, and so as soon as we all took our photos, I was like already at work, like, all right, looking up trading cards. All right, how do we do this? Okay, let's just do all these things here, because I love designing that stuff. It's so stupid.
That's fucking
now
cool.
We're talking about getting actually trading cards printed, because I found a place that'll do it. So I want to get backs of cards made with like stats and like made up facts and things like that. So next time we would
hand those out of the con.
Exactly. Next time anybody that likes our stuff, or if they're good enough too, where we don't have to all be together, so we can wear them as like individuals in different cons and stuff too. So it's just always fun to give that kind of stuff out to people.
That's cool. What Greg Biffle.
R.I.P. Greg Biffle.
Yeah. Did he pass?
I don't know. We lost him somewhere in the fray.
Somewhere in the fray.
He came into the band because I was real hammered at a bowling alley, and stole him, and
cardboard cutout. Beer in front of him, maybe.
People were not happy about it. Yeah. Yeah. We had him for years.
Yeah. He was part of the band.
Part of the band. Yeah. One time we had him set up at a show in like the corner, and a guy was so drunk he thought he was talking to a real person. Or like, I think we have a picture of it somewhere where it's this guy just like standing there talking to a cardboard cutout of Greg Biffle for a solid 20 minutes.
Probably that's for an autograph.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh yeah, Greg Biffle, R.I.P.
You ever thought about cosplaying as Greg?
No.
Okay. No. That's probably a hot. Wearing a fire suit.
I cosplayed as a character that this past weekend that nobody would understand, because it's such a small, like very, very small subculture from the skate video games.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, it was Coach Frank, which is played by Jason Lee, which was like he did for like some skateboard videos in that game, and I was like, I could do that. That's easy. And then I was like, no one will get this, and if anybody does, I will pay them money.
Right.
I will give them money. I will hug them forever. Like, no one's gonna get this, and no one did.
Nobody did.
No,
Okay.
and that's not what it's always about. I was like,
Right.
I just want to do this.
That's great. I think I like that because I mean you're doing something obscure, and then if by chance somebody does, but at the end of the day it doesn't matter if they don't know.
No, the costumes are always for me first.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
always for me.
Oh,
And that's when I've done like Dexter from Dexter's Lab. That was that costume is always for me first.
Right.
And then it just makes then I put the details into it, and then people I can see it. Like, it's funny, some of these costumes as you pass by people and like they just don't expect to see it. So I can literally hear it washing over them going, "What the hell is that? I'm like, oh my God." And then
Right, like it
turn around,
clicks.
it just clicks, and they're
Yeah.
like, I gotta get a photo of you real quick. Like, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, the costumes are always for me first, and then like for the people second, but it is always such a rewarding experience to bring a character somebody else loves to life in front of them. There was a time when I was Casey Jones, which I'm trying to bring back now that I'm like losing a lot more weight, and I'm just like, okay, I feel better about being Casey Jones now. And I was Casey Jones at the same con that I met Judith Hogue at, and a little girl came up to me, and like I had my mask down, and she like pulled on my jeans, and she was like, "Can I get a picture with you?" And I was like, she's holding a little Freddy Krueger doll, and I was like, oh, she must think I'm Jason. People have been saying that all day,
Sure.
like Jason, whatever. So I'm never mad about those sorts of things at all. And I was like, of course. And so I lean down and I get a picture with her, and then she's like, "Thank you, Casey." And like I was happy to be wearing a mask because I was like sobbing underneath that, because her mom was like, "Oh my God, she loves the Ninja Turtles so much. We saw you from across the con, and we've been trying to track you down all day. She didn't want to leave without getting a photo with you." And I was like, oh, okay. Like I was a mess after that, and it was just like it was such a rewarding feeling just to like that this girl, like, I don't know whether or not she thought I was Casey Jones or not, but like just I don't know, it was such a rewarding experience.
Did you ask her if she understood crumpet?
Crumpet? You gotta know what a cricket.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
You gotta understand what a crumpet is. I was just quoting that movie yesterday or a couple days ago, but and it's just a dumb quote of like I was picking up pork rinds from the convenience store we were at the con. I went, "Pork rinds? Pork rinds?" Like, no one understands me. Like,
Love it.
Dumb line. Could you crunch in my ear any louder?
Right. That's 'cause I just actually watched Secret of the Ooze this week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
Also, a fun movie, but flawed.
yes.
Yes.
Very much so.
Nothing. I mean, I really loved the new one, the Mutant Mayhem.
Yeah.
I thought that was a fantastic
It's great.
movie. I had a ton of fun watching
Yeah.
that. But nothing will ever beat that original movie for me. I wish we could just get a dark one. Just
know.
one more dark one. And I know it's for kids, but like I don't think I hate it when movie studios and property owners treat kids like kids all the time, because like that first one is for kids. That is a dark as shit movie. Casey Jones attempts to murder someone. Oops.
Yep. No, man, I love Secret of the Ooze, but that first one, because I think I watched that a couple weeks ago, and that's what always gets me on the train. And I go, I gotta watch the sequel, right? And I can't watch the third one. That one's tough for me to watch as a kid. Even I couldn't finish it. But that first one is just, man, it's something else about that one for sure. So, well, let's see here. I do want to kind of get into, kind of start bringing it home. I know I could talk to you forever. I feel like for sure. Your website. So you got a merch website. I know. First of all, there's some awesome product out there. But I'm gonna try and say it because I'm not a Dragon Ball guy. Mayhem. Wait, see, I'm always doing it. You do it.
So Kamehameha is the root word of it.
Okay.
King Kamehameha, the first king of Hawaii.
Okay.
And so then Kamehameha is the whole word.
So it's not even Dragon Ball. So I'm thinking Dragon Ball.
Yeah, nope.
Okay,
I mean,
so
but that's
I'll
where
go fuck myself.
that's where Dragon Ball gets the
Is that
Kamehameha.
where
That's exactly where Kamehameha comes from. It's from
okay.
Kamehameha, the
Okay.
first, the king of Hawaii.
Good. I'm gonna throw it out here for everybody to check it out as well too, because you do have a merch store. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of neat stuff out there. I will say that the Meyer shirt is probably my favorite, next to the Kmart shirt as well too. Because as somebody who grew up out in the country, but my grandpa was a veteran. He around the first of the month when he would get his check, we would go shopping to the Shields or the Shields Meyer, and it would be like 10 p.m. because he liked shopping at night when they were stocking because it was easy to shop, and that's how I grew up doing it. But then moving out this way, you know, I still think I prefer the Shields. But
I didn't for the longest time until they did the remodel.
Right.
And now I typically go to that one, honestly, because I think it's also the 24-hour no longer. That's no longer 24-hour. I think I really preferred the Tittabawassee one when it was 24 hours, just because it was so much better people watching. It was so much better for that. But no, like because I usually do a grocery run after the gym on Wednesdays, and Shields one is for me.
And by proxy, because you know I'm 4 minutes away from this one here. You know, I've just become accustomed to it, but I never go in anymore anyways. I just get a grocery pickup. I move 4 minutes away and take off. But it's funny because ever since I've lived in this town, it's always been the same thing. Like, people have a line about it. Like, no, this one's better. No, this one's better. Oh, this one's always out of stock. No, this one, like, I'll be honest, if somebody does grocery pickups, there's some things in Shields that's always out that this one's not. But then it's also like certain products always out over here.
Right.
But no, that shirt just drives it home. What is the better Meyer there? So but what got you, you know, what sparked that idea to do that?
I mean, I've always had ideas for shirts and things like that.
You're definitely an ideas guy.
And then a few years ago, my friend Jen was like, "Hey, do you do any of this stuff with like Cricut?" And I was like, "Well, my mom does." Like, why? She's like, "Well, like I have this. I never used it, and like I feel like you could use it." And I was like, "Okay." So I took it home, and then it sat for months. I was just too intimidated by trying to like get into it. So then like one day I just like, fine, let's do this then. And I looked it up, and it was so easy to get it all set up. And then from there, I was just like, all right, like my buddy Ben, he also has his own kind of like vinyl decal service that he does for like a lot of cars, and he does like some clothing stuff too. So then I was like asking him, I was like, what do you do? Like, what kind of heat press do you have? He's like, because I had a couple of things, and he's like, I got this and this, and you can buy them on eBay, and I bought it for this reason. I was like, okay, cool. So I invested some money into that. And it was all just downhill from there. It's just like I can just make whatever shirts I want for myself forever now.
Yeah.
So that's honestly what's really hard about it. Sometimes when I go someplace and like to a concert or something, and like they want $60 for white text on a black shirt, like I'll go home and make that. Like, no hate to this artist, but especially if they're like some big band. But I'm like, I'm good. I'll spend money on something else here. But that's just all of a sudden I could do it. So then I just started. My notes app in my phone is just full of stuff. My iPad is full of like designs that I still have yet to release, of some community designs as well.
That's
cool. I'll be watching shows. That's where a lot of my ideas come from too, is because like I love the idea of owning stuff for that comes from inside the universe of the franchises that I like. And it feels like so many people aren't like doing that stuff.
Right. It doesn't have to be on the nose.
No, it doesn't have to be on the nose.
No,
there was one shirt that I made from community. I think it's on the website, and it says all 5 dances.
Yep.
And I was like, cool. Somebody sent me that. And they're like, you should make this shirt. I was like, that's a great idea. I should make that shirt. There it is. There's all 5 dances. Or then like, I'll be watching a TV show like Community, or I was watching Gravity Falls not too long ago, and I saw somebody wearing a shirt that said Slight Fear with a bulldog on. I was like, screen cap, I'm just gonna
that's great,
do that.
Okay.
Or also just from like memes and stuff like that, because I think that Meyer shirt was inspired by a meme that was like, if you live in the Midwest, when you die, you spawn at the last Meyer you were at. And I was like, and then I just thought of that. I was like, man, I'm thinking of our 2 Meyers and thinking of which Meyer I prefer. I was like, man, when I die, I hope I respawn at the good Meyer. And that's where that came from. But then I love like
beautiful.
Even my friend Lisa posted, she found her old Panorama video card from the Panorama Video that used to be here.
Yeah, where was that at?
It was right next to Nori's. It's behind like the Little Caesars Cans Garden, or the Little Caesars, the sushi palace.
One right on State Street there, right?
Yep, it's behind that gas station.
By the dealership or whatever.
Yes. Yep, that's where Panorama Video used to be.
Okay.
My dad and I were there every weekend renting video games and movies.
Oh, shit.
And so when she found that card with the old logo on it, I was like, yoink! I'm just gonna start making shirts for that now too, and sold a few of those to local people. And I was like, great, like
you're gonna have to do a quad or Saginaw 8, right?
Oh God, yes, I should.
That'd be a good one. Awesome. No, that's great. And if you guys get a chance, check it out. If you want to buy some merch, the stuff out there, we're gonna try and make sure he sounds like he's got stuff in the pipeline, but we're going to try and make sure he gets some of that stuff out there, because I really do think he got some good ideas out there and some some stuff that I think that
Yeah, and I would love to start doing more third party because I like making it myself.
yeah,
But like I feel like a lot of these other third party services just aren't up to snuff on like the standard of quality that I would
I
like
agree.
to charge
I
for
get
some of
it.
these things. Like I usually really used to enjoy TeePublic, and I guess no hate to TeePublic, but like they started doing servicing out their stuff,
Yeah,
and it's just not the
it's not
quality
the
it used to
same.
be. It's really not.
I
So
fuck around with Redbubble a lot lately.
that's what I've heard. I've heard good things about them.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Or,
artist stuff.
I want to say there was another one too, but yeah, I would love to I'd sit down and get samples from places before I invest in that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
because it would be nice just to not have to do it, but
Right.
myself. But at the same time, I think it adds that element of a more DIY ethic to it
Sure.
as well.
Yeah, I get it. I can see that being a thing. Awesome. All right. It's just a few more questions here for you. I know I keep saying that, but this is such a good conversation. I don't want to stop. So you've bartended a few spots around the area, a Tri-City area. And again, you've also played shows in the bars too. But as far as not from the band side of it, but yourself, like as far as a favorite bar, a place that you just like the vibe, maybe it's the staff, or maybe it's the experience, or maybe even it's the beer on tap. Like, is there a place where you still feel like, man, when I need somebody or somewhere to go, like a dive or whatever, it doesn't even have to be a dive, just someplace you're like, that's my bar. That's my favorite spot to go.
Steamers
Steamers.
has been my bar for so long. I was heartbroken when they closed down.
Yeah.
Like I spent so many nights there, especially where like I have so many great memories of that bar. From when Thursday nights, because they would do half off nights there, and like there was some like my friends and I always had this tradition because they lived right around the corner on not Congress, but right around the corner, maybe Porter, off of Court Street there.
Yeah.
And we would go to our friend's house. We would watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia, The Office, Parks and Rec, and Community, because it was like at a time there was a whole block of that TV, and then we would walk down and go get half off drinks at Steamers, and then we would just get tanked there all night.
Awesome.
That and then so in that I just love the vibe there. We had so many great memories there. Got to know so many people there too. I won a costume contest there one year as
Fucking
Ash from
gnarly.
Evil Dead, and
Fuck
I was like
Fuck
broke
yeah.
as a joke, and we were like at a party next door, kind of going back and forth. Somebody from next door came over, was like, "Hey man, we need you to come back," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And yeah, then they announced that I won $100, and I was so broke as a joke at that point. I was
Perfect
like almost
timing.
in tears. I was like, "Oh really? Me?" Like it was awesome.
Cool.
But yeah, I think Steamers is always my choice. I do still love like Retro still has great food.
I hear the food's really underrated.
It is so good there.
Yeah, I hear
but sometimes
that.
it can just be a little for me. So
yeah.
I'm just old, and I've always enjoyed a place where I can enjoy music but still talk to people.
Right.
Because like that's what I'm there for. I'm there to hang out with people. But like, and that's
If I
what I like
can't.
about if I can't get a face-to-face interaction, or if it's just too loud, I'm like, this isn't for me. I've never
Right.
been like a dance club guy or anything like
Sure.
that. But yeah, so I think Steamers is like
Okay.
my number one.
I didn't realize that closed.
Yeah, it closed for a good few years too.
Damn.
And then Joel bought it. He also owns Max as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was so happy to see that reopen and still have the same vibe
Cool.
with when the floors weren't as sticky. So yeah.
Good. That's half the battle. Do you have a favorite craft beer or craft brewery, or are you more of a domestic? Like when it comes to, do you drink beer? I guess I'll start there.
I don't drink much anymore at
Sure.
all. If it is, it's usually liquor or I'm much more into like the high noons or like some of the
Yeah.
seltzers and stuff like that. That's usually more my jam now. But I'll never turn down a beer that's
Right.
handed to me.
Right.
Hey,
Right.
free beer is the best beer.
Right.
I'm not here to judge anybody. Even in my craft beer days, like I was never there to judge anybody. I was there to open people's minds to new possibilities.
Right.
But I would say still like I'll never turn down any beer that's handed to me. But if I was gonna pick like a favorite craft beer, it's still probably Bean Flicker from Oddside Ales.
Oh,
That
good
is
choice.
still such a nice light drinker.
Good choice. Yeah.
But it has so much flavor to it. Like and I'm
No
not
coffee.
a big coffee guy.
Yeah.
But it doesn't taste like coffee to me.
No.
It's more of like I would say it almost tastes like a Tootsie Roll.
Yeah.
So like that's always been a go-to for me.
Okay.
Honey Lav from Black Rocks Brewing Company.
Yes.
Black Rocks is probably my favorite brewing company, as much as it is
Dude.
such a tiny place. The
Crisp.
stuff that comes out of there is
Dude,
so good. Their coconut
so-
brown is
Dude,
fantastic.
the coconut brown is what turned me on to
Yeah.
that place, man.
Yeah, but their Honey
So
Lab is
good.
like probably my favorite.
Yeah, the Honey
beer.
Lab's so good. Yeah.
Because it almost tastes like when people would ask me about it, I don't particularly like the taste of lavender,
Mm-hmm.
but with the honey and the wheat from the beer, it always tasted more like the milk you would get from a bowl of Lucky Charms.
Yeah. Okay.
Like not the sweetness of the marshmallow with that, get a little bit of that, but like it's more of like the weedy pieces that you get from that.
That's a really interesting analogy.
Yeah.
Man. That's cool. Yeah, that I feel like I always say it, and I don't know, maybe it's because they're so far away from the rest of society. And I have this, it's one of these rare conspiracy theories, and I don't really get down on that, but I feel like there's a couple breweries that have something they do either with the way they distill or filter their water, or the crispness or the freshness. Maybe it's a spring. Black Rock has this different, refreshing waterness to it that I just like.
Yeah,
you just drink it and you're like, God damn, like this is different.
Yeah, even like their stouts, like nothing feels too heavy.
Yeah,
but nothing feels like too light either.
Yeah,
it's just there's just a crispness to the beer. Yeah,
that porter, man, is so good. I love coconut, so like it's always a draw for me too. So, what was your favorite toy growing up? Do you have a favorite toy?
Well, unfortunately, my parents gave away a lot of my toys when I was growing up because we moved a lot. So
that's heartbreaking.
It's somewhere in between the Ghostbusters and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because I had so many. I had the firehouse, had the truck, had the van, had everything. It's probably the Surf Michelangelo.
Okay.
Or between the Surf Michelangelo, who came with like a surf
Hawaiian shirt that's opened up.
He had like a bodysuit on. He had these sunglasses that were silver, and then he had like a surfing suit on, and he had a surfboard that says Cowabunga with a big bite taken out of it.
Oh shit!
Between that and Mondo Gecko, because I was obsessed with skateboards as a kid, even though I never skateboarded.
Same.
I was obsessed with characters like Bart Simpson or anybody that skateboarded.
Same.
Obsessed with it. So Mondo Gecko, loved that dude.
Did you buy the re-release of that?
I just did. I just got him. I just got him at the last con. No, at 2 cons ago, because some booth had it was like, everything buy 2 get 1 free, and everything was like $5 or less, and they had brand new stuff in there. They're like, we're just trying to get rid of stuff, and they had I got a Mondo Gecko.
Shit.
I got something else, and I got a Winston Zedmore action figure for under $20.
Holy shit!
I was like, oh yes, these 3, please buy. Thank you. Before you change your mind.
I've been the Mondo Gecko, that re-release that they've done. I've looked at that at Koi's Comics so many times. I don't even know if it's still there, but I'm just always like, God, I kind of want to buy that. I've got a treasure chest over there full of my old Ninja Turtles from that original line too.
And the stuff that NECA's putting out is crazy good.
I know.
Because I bought that live action Casey Jones and the April O'Neil.
Yep, that line is
so tight. There was another one that I really wanted, but I was like, it's like a lot of 2-packs, and I was like, I can't justify.
Did you see the 1/16 ones too?
Yeah.
Fuck, right.
Those movie. Oh God.
I know. There's odd words don't match the lips now. Maybe we're having a drop in something. I don't know. Well, we're almost done. Thank you, Blanco. Looks like it's better now. I don't know. You tell me. Looks fine now. Yeah, it's probably an internet drop. I don't know. I download so much porn around here. Just kidding. I don't really download porn. What's a band that you love that defines you? That just speaks to you?
I would say either the Ataris or this Canadian band called Stars.
Oh,
those are 2 of my absolute favorite bands that I've seen more than a handful of times. So I mean, the Ataris really defines like my taste in music and like where my writing and a lot of that comes from. Because when I discovered them, that was one of those bands that just like I discovered them randomly at FYE one day, and I was just like, the Ataris, like who are these? And like that blew up my world. Like, and then there's this Canadian band called Stars. I think really speaks to more of my like emotional side and everything that they do with their music. Like I think those 2 bands are definitely
cool.
Definitely, like their songs definitely define so many points in my life.
Okay, no, and like I think that Ataris have a cover that, in my opinion, is one of the best covers of all time as well too. Because I grew up listening to Eagles and Don Henley and stuff like that as well too. And Boys of Summer, man, it's a pretty gnarly cover.
Yeah, I'm real like stringent about my covers too, because like, oh cool, you made a song that sounds exactly the same. I don't care, but like it's the bands that can really bring it into their own and make it sound like their own, and they really do that with Boys of Summer.
Absolutely do.
Even with like just the little change of lyrics with like the Black Flag sticker on the Cadillac. It was like, like really modernizing it, really just
awesome.
but still like paying homage to the original. Like I really enjoy that one.
It's fucking great. You've mentioned a lot about controversial hot takes, so I'm gonna unless there's something big you want to throw out there. You said you've had a few. Is there another big one you want to throw out there before I get to my last question for you?
I don't think so. Not that I can think of. I mean, I talked about how much I don't like Kevin Smith and how 9/11 changed country music, and I think how shipping ruins fandoms.
That's some good. Those are some great hot takes.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
That's fair. Oh, okay, he's talking about the audience. Sorry. Okay, well, fair enough. So last one I always ask everybody, and this is a personal favorite. This is why I continue to ask this one now at this point. So, last day on Earth, apocalyptic, whatever, asteroid hits, whatever it is, you get a last meal. You get to choose 5 meal items, 2 drinks.
5 meal items. All entrees, or like we got like sides, entrees, like what?
You can
okay.
do whatever you. It doesn't. Yeah, because it doesn't have to be sides. It
yeah,
doesn't have to be like a Thanksgiving dinner. It can be anything. I get crazy with mine. So you, whatever
funny
you want.
I watched this show called Last Meals on YouTube, and like I think about that a lot too, because it's such a good. It's a lot to think about. It's a lot to think about because it's like nothing off the table. Like I would want my dad's fried rice. My dad personally makes the best fried rice I've ever had. And then I would want sushi because sushi is was one of my favorite foods. But I would want this sushi from Epcot.
Okay,
it was some of the best sushi I've ever had in my entire life.
Disney's got some of the best food. Period.
It was like a hibachi style restaurant, and we got sushi there as well. And it was some of the best sushi I've ever had in my entire life.
Good noted. I'm going in February.
Gosh, what else? I would want the Ninja Turtle fruit pies.
God damn it, right.
Yes, I want the Ninja Turtle fruit pies.
Yeah.
Which then would bring me to one of my drinks, which would be an ecto cooler.
There you go.
God.
So we got a drink. Yep, and we're down. We got 3 food. Okay, perfect. There it is. It's great.
Okay, so 3 food, 1 drink. I would want a blueberry shack soda as my other drink.
Did you see the case orange ones they found recently somewhere? Oh my god, Shack soda.
Shack soda was so good.
Fuck. The blue, because it was the blue.
Yes, it was the blue. It was so fucking good.
God damn it.
So I was like, Shack soda, how good can this be? And I was like, wow. I have to run out and get my hands on every single can I could possibly get.
I would go to Dollar General nonstop.
If not the Shack soda, then the Arizona green tea apple flavored version, though, because I've had it one time and it was amazing and I could never find it ever again.
Damn, apple version.
Yeah, it was an apple version. I found it at a random gas station and I was like, no, I'm just trying to chase that high green tea.
Right.
Hey, okay, so that's 3 food items, 2 drinks.
Man, I can't believe you said Shack soda.
There was I would want the creme brulee from the Maple Grill.
Oh, damn.
Because the Maple Grill.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Maple Grill.
We always shout him out around
Josh
here.
over at the Maple Grill. Dude. He's such a great dude. They are a great family. Fucking everything there.
Yes.
I've never had a bad meal there, and I don't think I ever will till the day that I die.
Caramel apple beer. Shout out to Aaron as well too, man.
Aaron Onweller.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we were hanging with him at the Brew Fest up.
So he lives next door to my girlfriend.
That's awesome.
And I've been friends with him on Facebook for a long time because he was the brewer at after I left Lumber Barons.
Oh shit!
And so then like every time I'm like trying to see him, I'm like, because we've never actually talked in real life, and I'm always like, hey buddy, like, oh, okay.
It's pretty gnarly. Crew though.
So yeah, the Maple Grill.
So we're at 4. So you got one last one. Texan buffet, like, right? R.I.P. that beautiful thing.
R.I.P. Yeah. There's a Texan shirt for sale on the Kamehameha website.
See,
if you'd like to show your love for that.
There you go. See.
You know what? I'll have to go. Gun to my head, a Tony steak sandwich with pizza, cheese, grilled bread.
God damn it, you're doing it right too. The only thing I do different is I actually add 2 things. I add mushroom and I
I do the mushrooms. Yep.
And I substitute for their spaghetti sauce.
Oh,
so it's thicker and it's got more flavor.
I'll have to try that next time.
Dude.
Yeah. I've been a big Tony's advocate for a long time.
Oh God, what's your favorite one? Everybody's got their favorite in town.
It used to be. Because I used to live over on Avon on State Street. So it used to be the one across the street from White's Bar.
Yeah.
It was that one for a long time. And then it was ran by teenagers for a long time and they just didn't give a shit. I got back to that one and then it was really good again. But now it's the one over on Gratiot because it's right down the street from my house.
See? Same.
Yeah.
That Shields one. We drove there on.
Oh no,
Labor
the
Day.
one,
the
further one,
the little one.
Yeah, the little one.
Oh,
the little one.
yeah,
I haven't been
yeah.
to the one on Shields in a long time, but
I haven't been to the little one in a while.
yeah, always have a good meal there. Yeah.
Okay.
Always
yeah.
good service.
I had a couple times there.
Usually when my friends come down to work on cosplay and stuff like that, we'll go out for breakfast and I'll take them down to that spot.
Fuck yeah. Okay.
I love it. Oh God, we just went to Waffle House the other day on the way back up from.
Yeah. I can't do the Waffle House thing. I can't. I've tried. It's not appealing. Yeah.
It's so good.
For you guys that love it, it's like Disney.
Out of 8 people, 3 people got kind of sick. So that's the risk you run. But I've had Waffle House quite a few times in my life, and it has been amazing every single time. It is the greasiest food in the world, and I love it every single time. But
it's tough,
man. Yeah. So
I don't know. It's like I always say it's like when the kitchen's put in the bathroom, that's like going to Waffle House for me. So it's a struggle for me on that one.
No, that's fully understandable.
Yeah, you guys that love it though, I get it. You guys love it, man.
If a fight doesn't break out when I'm at the Waffle House, it's not a full experience.
It's not a full experience. That's true. That is true. So
but yeah, so Dad's fried rice, sushi from Epcot, creme brulee from Maple Grill, fucking Shack soda
and turtle pies,
and an Ecto cooler.
God damn.
Yeah,
that's impressive. That's a great list, sir. I'm impressed with that. I can't believe I heard. It's the second time I've heard Shack soda in the last 2 weeks because of that case being found. And my buddy sent a picture of it because he was obsessed too. There was a small group of us that were just obsessed with that shit.
Well, I was thinking about it too because I think I saw a picture recently, or maybe it was from a while ago. That was like, holy shit! They're like, it was somebody who cut open a can of Arizona iced tea, and it was a Shack soda can underneath. They were reusing the old Shack soda cans, and I was like. No, good for them, honestly. But I was like, I forgot all about Shack soda. God damn, it was so good.
So good. That I don't know. It was like 2 summers we had it as well too. I feel like then it was gone. I love you, Shack.
Bring it back, Shack Diesel.
Yeah, please, and some wraps. Well, hey, I listen. I really appreciate. I know we've gone kind of long. And I knew that might be potential. There's a lot of things to talk about with you, and that's part of the great experience. I think just knowing who you are and. Knowing the things that we would probably get into as well, because I mean, listen, you've got a lot of things you get your hands into, and it sounds like you're always. I mean, apparently, I learned that you can use a phone as a microphone now. That's pretty wild. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's somebody that you're somebody who just does things like and comes up with new stuff or whatever it is, and that's pretty awesome, man. So I really appreciate your time. This was really fun to do.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I was looking forward to this the whole time, and it did not disappoint.
Yeah, good.
So I look forward to our future conversations.
I appreciate that, and there will definitely be more conversations, and that's always my goal. If I get people on here, like I said, running the gauntlet the first time, so everybody kind of gets to know somebody, and then going forward, we'll get into some topical things as well too, or whatever it is. So. I definitely look forward to having those as well with you. But
yeah, this is a blast.
Great, I appreciate that. This has been great. So, if you guys get a chance, make sure I'm going to put it out here in the chat one more time, and you'll also be able to catch it if you're not live right now on the socials. To check out his website, and also I got his Instagram out there too. If you want to give him a follow out there, you can keep up with a lot of cool stuff that he does in his life as well too. So make sure to follow Russell as well. So but some just quick stuff as well too. As always, make sure Monday night, if you're hearing this tomorrow or whenever you're hearing this, Monday nights, make sure to check out 7 Dungeons. They're doing that 7 p.m. live Dungeons and Dragons stream. You guys got to get in there. They're spinning yarn constantly. It's awesome stuff. If you like D&D, if you like good storytelling just in general, Dratzen puts a lot of work into it. It's fucking amazing. And then of course, make sure to check constantly throughout the week our buddy Half-Ass Beer Review. Yours truly sometimes ends up on some of these videos. Right now he's got a lot of content out there that's exclusive to me because sometimes I might get a little too drunk or high on camera and then he's got content. But you check him out on YouTube. Make sure to give him some love as well too. He's constantly killing out there with the shorts. Lots of content. So make sure to show those guys some love as well. And as far as Banter and Babble proper show, this coming Wednesday, it's still kind of up in the air. Dude's got a lot of things on his plate, so we couldn't get to it this week, unfortunately. But hopefully this coming Wednesday, as per normal, we'll be able to jump into it too. And if something does still come up with everything that he's got on his plate, maybe I'll do a small one and fuck around here and you guys can stare at me for a half hour or an hour or do something stupid. So, but I appreciate if you're checking this live right now, and if you're checking it later, I also appreciate it as well too. Continue to do what we really, really appreciate you doing, which is make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff is such huge for us as well too as we continue to grow. banter and babble. But for an amazing guest, Russell here, and for yourself here, myself, me Tone, Fanboy Tone, whatever you want to call me. Appreciate you hanging out, checking us out. We'll talk to you real soon. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.